¡Lo encontré, bro! ¡Lo encontré! ¡Lo encontré!
Ca și pula voastră, ce e aici, bă?
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Classified Captures. Steve here, and today I've got a collection of clips ranging from cryptid sightings to glitches in our matrix that may just leave you shocked. Ready? Let's jump in. Starting today's clip, we've got a bird that's not been seen in millennia. Take a look.
¡Lo encontré! ¡Lo encontré, bro! ¡Lo encontré! ¡Lo encontré!
Do you know what bird this is? If you do, pause the clip and type it in the comments section and then continue the clip. I'll take it that you've typed your answer. No? If you're familiar with Dumbledore's fox, then you should have an idea what this bird is. If you haven't guessed it at this point already, this is supposed to be a clip of a phoenix. At least that's what the one who uploaded the clip said. He mentioned that this is supposed to be a rare capture of the bird. Unfortunately, Julius isn't here to confirm if it looks like any bird out there in nature. I looked around though and didn't find any images of the bird that had any similar wings and tail feathers as this bird. For those unfamiliar with it, the phoenix is a mythical bird associated with various cultures and traditions, renowned for its vibrant plumage and powerful symbolism. It is said to live for several hundred years before dying in a burst of flames only to be reborn from its ashes. This cycle of death and rebirth makes the phoenix a potent emblem for immortality, renewal, and resilience. In ancient mythology, the phoenix is often depicted as a magnificent bird with radiant feathers that range in color from fiery reds and oranges to gold. It has inspired countless stories, poems, and artistic representations throughout history, symbolizing hope and the indomitable spirit. Aside from this being white, which is a slight difference from what the mythologies say, the big question now is, did the individual really film a phoenix, or are we looking at a previously undiscovered species of bird? There are some who also think it's CGI, but let me know what you guys think.
¡Lo encontré! ¡Lo encontré, bro! ¡Lo encontré! ¡Lo encontré!
Next, we had this clip that was apparently taken late one night by a father and son who were out on a walk. It was supposed to be a night like any other, with them having fun and enjoying the great outdoors. Well, it actually was. You can tell by the way the dog is happily jumping around. After a few minutes, however, the son starts to point to one of the buildings in the distance. His focus was not on the building, however. If you look closely, there's a translucent being somewhat floating across the buildings. Given that the footage was taken at night, we don't really see the being in its full glory. Based on what we can see, we can say that it's not natural. We can't, however, confirm what it is we're dealing with. Some who saw the clip thought it was an evil spirit. Others thought it was a genie, whereas some thought probably a figment of the child's and father's imagination. I didn't know our cameras were now capable of capturing our imaginations. Anyway, you guys have seen the clips too. What do you think we're dealing with? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. If you like going on hikes, this next one's for you.
What the hell? And there's a dead duck here. A very long note. And it looks like it was just put here because it's not wet. That duck is fairly recently killed.
The clip was captured in 2021 by a hiker who was exploring Virginia. On his expedition, he encountered heaps of garbage, which isn't really anything new when you're exploring an area that hikers typically visit. What made these heaps of garbage eerie and a tad disturbing was the fact that they had cryptic writings on them. The first he encountered read, "Hangman is coming down from the gallows." This he thought was a lyric from a song. He just said to himself, he hoped he won't get murdered and didn't think much of it. The next set of garbage, however, didn't make him feel any easier. He kept meeting more and more of such writings to the point that he came across one with a dead duck. This started setting off bells of a ritual and whatever demonic thing you can come up with. He also came across a very long note that appeared to have been recently placed there. When he finally got to his shelter, he set up and went through the log that was there. He noted that almost every shelter on the trail he was on had one. The first thing he noticed was that the handwriting of the latest entry matched the notes he had seen. The notes were a mixture of rumblings and Metallica lyrics. As he was reading, he heard someone else arrive and he quickly packed his things and left. He didn't even engage with the individual because he was worried and afraid. Now this is a little unsettling, but what would you have done in his shoes? Would you have tried to engage the person, or would you have also left for fear of your life?
And there's a dead duck here. A very long note.
Yes, that's a goat burning itself. It's strange, scary, and bizarre, isn't it? The first time I saw it, I wasn't sure that the goat had been bewitched or abused to enjoy having flames in its face. After a little research, however, I found out the reason, and it's heartbreaking. It turns out goats do this to kill blood-sucking worms in their throats. Many individuals who have goats insist this is why goats do this. Some individuals from our scientific community, however, beg to differ. They say goats have a unique way of dealing with blood-sucking worms or internal parasites in their throats. According to them, goats actually rely on natural biological mechanisms to combat these parasites. They consume a variety of plants, some of which contain natural anthelmintic properties that help expel the worms. Additionally, the strong immune system of goats helps them manage and reduce parasite loads. I mean, that sounds logical, but we can see the goats burning their faces and throats with fire, which can't be nothing. So the big question remains, why do goats really do this? Are there any experts out there to help us, preferably goat farmers? Still on animals acting strange or in extraordinary circumstances, take a look at this clip. We're introduced to a scene with a dog staring in the direction of a tree. It stands and stares for a while, then turns away. It doesn't just turn away, it moves in an alert mood and runs away. We have said over and over on this channel that animals seem to have some extrasensory perception that we don't possess. Could the dog have noticed and seen something we can't, or are we trying to read the meaning into an innocent scene? Before you share your thoughts, bear in mind that all the dogs are looking in the same direction when the camera zooms out. We have covered goblins in the past, but never have we ever had any of them do what you are about to see.
O kurwa! Ty, kurwa! Stuart mały! Ja pierdolę!
Believe it or not, the individual who captured this stated that he caught a nudist goblin sunbathing. When I saw the word nudist, it made me try to recall and remember if any of the goblins we featured on this channel had any clothes on. Either way, this goblin had organs that couldn't be shown on social media, so he censored the clip so he wouldn't get flagged. This has us thinking, wondering, and imagining so much. Do you think goblins have the same organs that we do in the chest and genital area? If you do, have you come across any literature or legends that support your stand? If you have, please share. We really want to go through them as well.
O kurwa! kurwa! Ty, kurwa! Steward mały! Ja pierdolę!
When I first saw this footage, I thought it was some sort of censored image. As you can see, there's a man wearing a mask with a dark, round, black shape where his hands should be. It's almost as if someone is trying to censor whatever he's holding, but the individual who posted this states that's not the case. According to him, that's a basketball covered in Vantablack. In case you're wondering, Vantablack is the world's darkest substance. It's so black that it looks almost unreal, absorbing 99.96% of the light that hits it. This, according to the individual, gives the basketball the appearance of a void, as if it's a black hole in the man's hands. If this is true, then the effect is indeed mind-blowing. Forgive me for being a doubting Thomas, but if we're up to believe this story, some things must be cleared up. Like, where's the man's hand? If this isn't digitally altered, then it should have been shown one way or the other. Instead, the round circle covers everything as if it were digitally planted. Maybe, just maybe, I lack understanding and visual perception. So what do you guys think? What do we have here? A pig-shaped fish? No, that can't be right. The mere thought of it is very weird, right? Well, some fishermen posted this image saying that they had caught this creature among their usual catch. It looks like a fish with scales all over, but its head is shaped like a pig, complete with a snout, ears, and eyes. The bizarre creature has everyone puzzled. While it may seem like something out of a science fiction movie, such unusual finds do occasionally turn up in the depths of the ocean. At least, that's what they said. Enthusiasts are scratching their heads over this peculiar find. Some suggest it could be a rare deformity or a hybrid species that somehow developed these unusual features. Others speculate it might be a previously unknown species lurking in the unexplored part of our oceans. In folklore and mythology, there are tales of hybrid creatures that roam the waters. Could this be one of those legendary beings brought to life, or is it just an anomaly of nature? Julius thinks I might have lost a few brain cells to think this is remotely real, but what do you guys think? Before sunrise, a man woke up one early morning to prepare for his morning shift at work when he saw something extraordinary through his window. There was a strange craft floating above one of the nearby houses. The craft was saucer-shaped, the classic UFO silhouette, and it had a light that blinked rhythmically. The man couldn't believe his eyes. He quickly grabbed his phone and started recording, capturing the craft's steady hover and blinking lights. The craft made no sound, adding to the surreal atmosphere of the early morning. Could it really be an alien spacecraft silently observing the Earth before dawn, or are we dealing with some advanced military technology being tested under the cover of darkness? Let us know your thoughts.
Hello?
A camper set out into the woods for a peaceful retreat. He found the perfect spot, setting up a hammock and tent for himself and his dog. As he settled in for the night, something unsettling happened. They began to hear the sound of someone sobbing outside the tent. The cries were heart-wrenching and seemed to come from nowhere. There were no other campers around, and when he went out to check, there was no one there. Legend has it that a woman once owned a farm near the forest where he was camping. One tragic day, she hanged herself, and since then, a spirit has been sent to haunt the area. Known as the Lady in the White Dress, a ghostly presence is often felt by those who venture too close. This tale is reminiscent of La Llorona, the weeping woman from Mexican folklore, but this clip comes from England. Many have reported similar experiences in the area, adding to the mystery. Could it really be the lady who hangs herself sobbing outside the tent? The eerie cries combined with the tragic history suggest a paranormal presence. What do you think?
Hello?
This entire place is underground. Just look at the space. It's massive. Some say it's an underground bunker, but there are a lot of people coming and going, which is quite unusual for a bunker. Typically, bunkers are left alone until needed. Someone in the comments of the original post stated that it's a former salt mine turned into a concert hall. It's hard to confirm this comment, but even if that is the case, it still doesn't settle the unease of knowing underground bunkers have now become a thing. What are they preparing for that we don't know of? It's not just the size and activity here that raise questions, it's the growing trend of constructing underground facilities worldwide. What could be driving this shift? Are these structures designed for protection against natural disasters, nuclear threats, or something else entirely? The idea that governments or private entities are preparing for an unknown future event is a cause for concern. Could it be related to climate change, geopolitical tensions, or even extraterrestrial threats? It's hard to say. Perhaps it could just be paranoia on my path, but what do you think is behind the rise of these massive underground constructions? Would you believe me if I said this insect is a caterpillar? Yes, a caterpillar. It looks more like a scorpion or something from another world, but it's not. This is called a lobster moth caterpillar. The lobster moth caterpillar gets its name from its unique appearance, which indeed resembles a lobster with its elongated body and curled tail. This fascinating creature is a master of disguise, using its unusual look to ward off predators. When threatened, it raises its front end and curls its tail, mimicking the appearance of a much larger and more intimidating creature. What's even more intriguing is how this bizarre caterpillar eventually transforms into a rather unassuming moth. The adult lobster moth is brown and relatively plain compared to its larval stage, a stark contrast to its caterpillar form's dramatic appearance. Now, we all know that the world has been proven to be spherical, but there are still some that make the fact debatable. When you look at the edge of the sea, it looks flat, not curved. When you look at the structure of a stadium and how the ancients structured it, it was a flat platform. It's intriguing to think about, isn't it? Despite the overwhelming scientific consensus and evidence supporting a spherical Earth, certain observations seem to challenge this idea. The horizon appears flat to the naked eye. These and many more are the reasons the flat earthers refuse to believe the Earth is spherical. Can any of you non-flat earthers explain why this means nothing? Julius is tired of explaining itself when it comes to this. This is just me testing and making sure you guys really understand when you say the planet isn't flat. So let's go. Right and obvious answers only.
Happy and healthy, nappy, and if you ever cared to ask, good for you, you're doing great to do it without me, baby. I'm left on my bed, crying.
Oh!
Tyler!
You know, humans can be very unpredictable. Take a look at this footage. A girl was being pranked by her friend, and it almost led to her falling to her death. The person holding the camera was filming two girls singing. The one in the blue shirt walks forward, and it looks like they're on a large rock with a rope she can hold onto and swing from into a pool below them. As she goes to grab the rope, the person filming takes the rope away and she falls right down, almost hitting the edge of the pool. Luckily, she fell into the water. She was just a tiny bit away from danger. This shows how important it is to be careful about the friends you make. Who knows if they did it on purpose or not? Always watch your back, even when you think you're having harmless fun.
I'm crying!
Ow!
No. Sorry.
Finish!
What you're looking at is a painting so unsettling that people felt compelled to place a cross in front of it whenever anyone approached. Why? Let's delve into its eerie history. This painting, crafted by a German artist, Franz von Stuck, in 1890, is the image of Lucifer. It depicts a naked man with striking, almost hypnotic eyes sitting in the dark with his legs pressed together. His head rests on one arm, propped on his knees, while the other arm is twisted backward in an unnaturally contorted position. The stare of the man in the image is so intense, so piercing, that it feels as though he is looking right through you into the deepest corners of your soul. Von Stuck was renowned for his unique and evocative paintings, often exploring mythological and allegorical themes. His work on Lucifer is no exception, capturing the fallen angel in a moment of deep contemplative despair. The dark background, the twisted posture, and the haunting gaze all contribute to the painting's disturbing aura. It's as if Lucifer is brooding over his fall from grace, trapped in eternal torment. The reaction to this painting has been profound. Many people report feeling an overwhelming sense of unease and fear when they look at it. Some say it's as if the painting itself is alive, watching and waiting. This has led to the practice of placing a cross in front of it as a form of protection against the malevolent energy they believe it emanates. What do you think of this? Does it terrify you? Share your thoughts and reactions in the comments below.
I was very proud of her.
Now let's look at this very famous footage of Hillary Clinton. In the clip, she's surrounded by a lot of journalists, all eager to ask her questions. But when one woman begins to ask her something, Hillary just goes off. Her head starts to bounce like one of those bobblehead dolls, and she laughs hysterically before finally regaining her composure. The woman asking the question looks very taken aback by Hillary's behavior. This footage is one of many showing famous people seemingly glitching out of reality. But what could these behaviors mean? Is it really a sign of people who sold their souls to the devil for fame? Some people believe these individuals are cloned, and what they're witnessing are the clones glitching out. Or are we looking at something else entirely? Could it be stress, exhaustion, or just a moment of human error caught on camera? Or are these instances indicative of something more sinister and otherworldly? Let us know what you think in the comments section.
I was very proud of her.
We all know dinosaurs are said to be extinct, but scientists around the world have been tirelessly searching for the DNA of these ancient creatures, hoping to revive them from recovered genetic matter. Recently, someone captured this intriguing footage at a riverside, showing a mysterious creature in the water. It appears to have the features of a dinosaur, with most of its body hidden beneath the surface except for its tail, upper face, and back. While some speculate that it might be a crocodile, others firmly believe that this is indeed a dinosaur. You see the creature too? What do you think we're dealing with here? Let us know in the comments section. This incredible footage allegedly comes from China, where a massive light descended from the sky, striking the earth with the intensity of a pillar of fire. I know that's a mouthful, but how else do we describe what you just saw? The impact was accompanied by a deafening explosion that reverberated through the air. This mysterious phenomenon occurred dangerously close to a tall building, illuminating the entire area in a blinding flash before leaving a trail of flames in its wake. The scene was nothing short of terrifying, and the sheer power of the event was captured from multiple angles by various witnesses. The authenticity of this footage is undeniable, as the consistency across different recordings leaves little room for doubt. This begs the question, what exactly caused this extraordinary event? Could it have been a bolt of lightning or perhaps an explosion of some kind?
哎呦我操！哎呦我操！哎呦我操！哎呦我操！
我操，咋的了这是？
啊！
Imagine standing outside with your family and then an alien spacecraft casually flies by. Sounds interesting, right? Well, for this family, it was no hypothetical situation. They were standing outside when they noticed this disc-shaped craft that was in the sky above the sea not too far from them. Their house backs up to the sea, giving them a clear view of the mysterious object floating up there. The craft was unmistakably disc-shaped, hovering silently above the water. It wasn't moving much, just floating there. Some viewers said these were extraterrestrial visitors. Others were skeptical, trying to think of a rational explanation. Maybe it was some sort of advanced drone or a weather balloon, or perhaps a digital manipulation. Despite the number of possible scenarios they came up with, we're unable to say for sure what it is we're dealing with. That doesn't stop us from having an opinion, though. So, in your opinion, what's happening here? Still on UFOs, a passenger on a plane saw something truly bizarre in the sky. It was a flying disc hovering near the plane he was on, almost as though it were inspecting it. The disc circled around, maintaining a steady distance, and then as quickly as it appeared, it zoomed off into the distance. The passenger managed to capture the strange encounter on video, and you can see the clear disc-shaped object gliding effortlessly against the backdrop of the sky. The disc moved with eerie precision, making smooth, deliberate motions that seemed almost intelligent and otherworldly. It's unlike any aircraft or drone we commonly see, adding to the intrigue and mystery. What do you think it could be? A highly advanced drone, a secret military craft, or perhaps a genuine UFO? Just when you think you've seen it all, a driver sends in this bizarre vehicle on the road. It was shaped like a UFO, sleek and futuristic. As he passed by it, he noticed something even stranger. There was no driver in sight. This mysterious vehicle was cruising along the road without anyone at the wheel. Taking a closer look, he realized that it didn't have conventional tires either. Instead, it seemed to hover slightly above the ground, moving smoothly and silently. The sight was both fascinating and unsettling, raising so many questions. What are we looking at here? Some kind of advanced technology, perhaps a prototype for a new type of autonomous vehicle, a digital creation, or could it be something extraterrestrial hiding in plain sight? Julius thinks it's funny to think it could be an alien hiding in plain sight, but that only makes me think about Transformers. It really can be done, but what say you? Take a look at this curious creature that stuck its head into the deck of a boat out at sea. With its impressively long beak and feathers that look almost like hair, this bird made quite an entrance. This is called a Great Dalmatian pelican. Known for their distinctive appearance and large size, these pelicans are a fascinating sight. Their beaks are not only long but also incredibly functional, helping them scoop up fish with ease. The tufts of feathers on their heads give them a unique, almost whimsical look. The Great Dalmatian pelican in particular is known for its impressive wingspan, which can reach up to 11 feet. They also work together to herd fish into shallow waters, making it easier to scoop them up with their large pouched beaks. Clearly, they are intelligent and impressive birds, which has us wondering what was going through this big guy's mind. Do any of you guys have a clue? This image was taken by a watchman at a manufacturing facility between Big Rapids and Chippewa Lake, Michigan back in 1961 at around 3 a.m. He captured this creature lurking around, and at the time the creature appeared to be hiding behind a streetlight. In the image, you can see the creature's bare shoulders and shiny black fur. It stood on 2 legs. According to the man's account, the creature alternated between walking on all 4s and its 2 hind legs. When you think about it, this sounds like the Dogman. If you're new here, the Dogman is a legendary creature often described as having the body of a man and the head of a dog or wolf. It's also known for its terrifying, piercing red eyes. The watchman's encounter with the creature's distinctive features and its ability to move between quadrupedal and bipedal locomotion fits well with many descriptions of the Dogman. However, he didn't mention the glowing red eyes they're known for. Could it be that the lighting or angle obscured this eerie detail? Anyway, what do you think? Could this really be a Dogman? When it comes to the wild, we have the predator and the prey. The predator typically feeds on the prey, following the natural laws of things in the wild. Let me blow your mind with this footage here. Take a look. How is this possible? A frog sticks its tongue out to swipe an insect flying by into its mouth, but instead of the insect going into its mouth, the insect gets stuck on the frog's tongue and lifts the frog upwards, flying away with it. This defies the usual dynamics of predator and prey. Typically, the frog would use its sticky tongue to catch an insect, but in this bizarre reversal, the insect manages to turn the tables on the frog. This incredible scene raises questions about the strength and size of the insect. Is this some kind of super insect or an anomaly in nature? This one's for the flat earthers out there. Here's something to think about. Did you know that the shortest distance between 2 places is not a straight line but a curved one? Wondering why? Well, that's because the Earth is not flat. Take a look at this example on a globe. If you plot a straight path from New York to Moscow, the distance is approximately 8,910 kilometers. But if you follow the curvature of the Earth, the distance is actually shorter, around 7,500 kilometers. This phenomenon is known as the Great Circle Route. Airplanes often use these routes to minimize travel time and save fuel. The Great Circle Route takes advantage of the Earth's spherical shape, showing that the shortest path between 2 points on a sphere is a curved line, not a straight one. So do you think the Earth is flat or a sphere? I came across this intriguing footage recently. In the video, a man was sitting at a table with others when someone grabbed his nose and pulled it. Did you see it? His skin just rises like it's a mask. It was like the man was pulling his skin off. There are conspiracies about lifelike masks that people wear mimicking other people's faces. It's very freaky and unsettling to see. Before you come at me, lifelike masks are not just the stuff of science fiction or conspiracy theories, they actually exist and are used for various purposes. Special effects artists in the film industry create hyper-realistic masks for movies, and there have been reports of these masks being used for more nefarious purposes, such as identity theft or evasion. The technology behind these masks has advanced to the point where they can become incredibly convincing. Made from materials like silicone, they can mimic the texture, color, and even the fine details of human skin. When worn, they can make someone look entirely different, which is both fascinating and a bit creepy. This incident really makes you wonder, could there be others out there like this? While driving late at night, a diver came across a strange figure on the side of the road. The figure wasn't that big, but it looked very scary and eerie. It spotted a pair of glowing eyes that resembled flames. The figure did not resemble any type of human, leaving all who saw it with a wide range of theories and speculations on what the figure could be. One theory that runs through is that we are seeing what could be the legendary and mysterious Mothman. While I want it to be, it could also be just someone in a convincing Halloween costume looking for a ride. What do you think? Next, we have footage from a hiker in Utah who spotted a bizarre-looking creature walking through the woods. From the footage, we can tell that the creature had dark fur and stood about 7 feet tall. Unlike a Sasquatch, the creature had long arms that it used to move, reminiscent of a gorilla. If you pay attention, you'll hear something odd when it moves.
Holy shit.
Sounds like metal, does it not? That's had me becoming skeptical about the whole thing. Why would a Sasquatch's footsteps sound metallic? It doesn't add up now, does it? We did the research and found out that there are times when hunters will wear a ghillie suit and move on stilts. Looking at the footage, I'm convinced that that's what we may be dealing with. What do you think? Still on suspected Bigfoot sightings, take a look at this footage taken by a drone scouting the woods. In the enigmatic footage, the spotlight falls on a dark, furred creature, upright and unmistakably bipedal, meandering below. At first glance, it might invoke thoughts of a bear, but let's be real. Real bears don't typically strut around like this unless they're auditioning for a role in a cartoon, which you and I know they don't particularly do in the wild. What sets this creature apart is its long, sinewy limbs. Those proportions simply don't align with the stocky build of a bear. It's these distinct features that have led the owner of this remarkable footage to one bold conclusion. They've just laid eyes on the elusive Bigfoot. Now, whether you're a true believer, an open-minded adventurer, or a skeptic in search of rational explanations, one thing's for certain. Our forests, thick with secrets, continue to tease us with their enigmas. This footage was taken by an explorer who had decided to explore an abandoned building. Luckily, he didn't get into the building because something scared him off the property just before he could. Take a look. As he approached the entrance, the sight before him was eerie enough to give anyone pause. The entrance was padlocked, a sign that perhaps some things are better left undisturbed. But curiosity got the better of him, and he raised his camera to capture a glimpse of the mysteries within. What he saw in that dark room, well, it's the stuff of nightmares. There, lurking in the shadows, was a creature with eyes that glowed like burning embers in the night. It's the kind of sight that would make your heart skip a beat. But here's where things take a sinister turn. As soon as this enigmatic creature spotted our intrepid explorer, it lunged forward with an otherworldly menace. Frightened to the core, our explorer makes a hasty retreat, and the footage abruptly ends. Now, the big question that lingers is this: is our explorer okay? Because whatever that creature was, it certainly didn't appear to be in the mood for a friendly chat. But then again, he uploaded the footage, so he should be fine, right? A hiker on the Colorado mountains spotted what he believed to be a Sasquatch back in 2009. The creature was hiding behind some rocks looking at the hikers. It had brown fur. For those who don't know, these parts are like the hot spots for Bigfoot sightings. The sightings are so often that it's almost like a rite of passage to spot one there. Once the hiker in question noticed the creature, the brave soul decided to go back and investigate the spot. He wanted to make sure he had really seen what he had seen. What does he find when he goes back? No Bigfoot, no, just a pile of straw. Was Bigfoot camping there, or did it put the straw there to mislead the hiker? Share your thoughts. For our next footage, you might want to hold on to your hats because we've got some weather drama brewing right in your backyard shed. Imagine this. Someone's just puttering around, maybe looking for a hammer or contemplating the mysteries of life, when, out of nowhere, he or she stumbles upon the meteorological marvel of the century, a mini whirlwind forming inside the shed. There it is, this mini whirlwind, a twirling dance of white smoke coming from the ceiling. I'm no meteorologist, but I'm pretty sure this isn't how things are formed. What could have caused it? Is it natural? Who knew your shed could be the birthplace of weather phenomena? Imagine moving through the woods at night and hearing these shrill, scary sounds. In the middle of nowhere, armed with just a camera and a torchlight, the uploader of the footage stands firm despite the unsettling sights and sounds. It's evident he's very far from home, and it's not exactly clear what he's doing in the woods either. But it looks like his life might just be in danger. Despite eerie sounds emanating from the distance and the inky darkness reminiscent of thick smoke from a burning building, the unknown person remains undeterred. The screams intensify in tempo, yet there's no sign of any creature. What could this sound or scream be owned by, and is it a cry for help or a cue for the one recording the footage to skedaddle? The fact that he uploads this shows he was safe, but what do you think is responsible for the sound? An animal? A human? A skinwalker? Or a rake? Hit us with your best guesses and reasons in the comments section below. If you're a regular subscriber to this page, then you are no stranger to strange phenomena, conspiracy theories, wild speculations, and even footage of cryptids like Bigfoot, the Rake, or skinwalkers. As intriguing as these creatures are, sometimes there are other things more intriguing than them. Sometimes the intriguing phenomenon is nothing but your everyday primate with a human-like expression, like the one you see in the footage. While it appears to be a typical black primate with regular monkey behavior, its face is the most intriguing aspect. We've all heard the saying, 2 heads are better than 1, but what do you make of a monkey that seems to wear a human-like expression? While this is interesting to see and watch, it makes me wonder if the creature is fine or if it's even accepted by its family. I'm no expert in this field, so I won't pretend to be. Can anyone among you explain what's going on with the monkey's face? If you can, please do so because we'd like to know. We'll be reading the comments. Back in 2022, this image was circulating on the internet from the US. With little info on where the image came from, determining what this creature is has been nothing but a hustle. In the picture, we can see a dog-furred creature walking in a river. The creature was roughly about 7 feet tall and bipedal. Experts who came across the photo have examined it thoroughly and have tried to come up with a logical explanation as to what this is. But as far as we can see, this clearly looks like a Bigfoot. No bear or monkey has a posture like this. If you think otherwise, share your thoughts with us in the comments section. A group of men found this strange-looking creature that looked like a snake with 4 limbs. Critically inspecting it, one can tell that it's indeed very strange and unlike any reptile we've ever seen. It's what someone would describe as a hybrid of a snake and a lizard. Its long neck is crooked, but unlike your typical snake, this thing doesn't go all out with the tongue action. It keeps it classy, tongue firmly in its mouth. You can't really tell if this creature is legit chill and just vibing with the guys. It could also be scared out of its wits because, well, let's be real, imagine being discovered by a bunch of dudes. You could be giving them the side eye too, right? Next, we have this scary and, quite frankly, spine-chilling video that we have failed to come up with an explanation for. In this footage, you won't believe what we've stumbled upon. A bizarre creature that gives me serious Gollum vibes from Lord of the Rings. The creature is bald and seems to be devouring something on the ground. There's no telling what, but it notices the one filming and stares sharply in his direction. The video ends there. What do you think that is? We had to go through our list of cryptids and paranormal creatures, yet found nothing that remotely looked like or acted like this creature. Could it be a creature of the night that had escaped the Netherrealm into ours? Could it be, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, a demon? Now, before you dismiss this notion, remember that while the existence of such creatures cannot be scientifically proven, neither can they be disproven. Is this one of them, though? Well, it's hard to say. The footage could be the result of an elaborate hoax. It could also be a fake. Can we say for certain what it is? No, we can't. But as always, what do you think? In the clip, we catch a glimpse of a family enjoying a day out in the woods, possibly on a camping trip. The father is most likely teaching his sons to fish, and it looks like your classic family's day out. That is, until the father turns his gaze toward the person behind the camera, his face displaying a perplexed expression. His eyes fixate on the bushes, and the person behind the camera, likely the mother of the boys, instinctively follows his gaze, momentarily shifting the camera's focus. Based on the look the father is wearing, it's evident that there might be something or someone out there in the bushes. At first, due to the poor quality and camera shake, it's hard to make out any details, but once you stabilize the footage and slow it down, you see why the man looks so alarmed. There's something or someone out there. And no, it's not a dog or a wolf or a bear. It looks human and walks like one. But given how dark it is all over, I'm tempted to believe that it has fur all over its body. Also, if you look closely, you'll realize it's hunched a little, which is reminiscent of a Bigfoot, if you ask me. Could they have actually seen a Bigfoot? If it's indeed a Bigfoot, why was it stalking them? Share your thoughts. Next, we visit the borders of the Kentucky Islands for some strange and quite frankly spooky vocalizations. Imagine hearing this while chilling in your cozy island abode or sipping sweet tea or whatever islanders do. There's no way you'd recover from it. I don't know about you, but they sound like howls and barks combined that are echoing throughout the woodlands. We did some further analysis on the audio and realized that they don't sound like any animal we know. The vocalizations, however, hint at a very large creature. Given the fact that the area is known to have Bigfoot sightings, we don't have to go too far to guess what we could be dealing with, do we? Ah, the classic mysterious lights in the night sky scenario. You gotta love those. So a Facebook user spots this curious sight. Not one, not two, but 4 enigmatic lights just doing their thing in the night sky. It's like someone threw a handful of glow sticks into the night sky and called it a day. They look like they belong to some kind of spacecraft. It also looked like all 4 lights did not belong to one craft, but 4 separate crafts. Who could they belong to, though? Alien visitors? Is the military practicing some secret maneuvers? Or maybe just some unusually coordinated sky lanterns having a night out? It's hard to say, but you're allowed an opinion. What do you think? Next, we have a strange and eerie-looking video. In this clip, we see a young lady and a young man going through the woods and laughing. Given how the young lady laughs and looks at the young man filming their time in the woods, I would not be surprised if they were together. Taking a closer look at the footage, it either looks like the lady is topless or she's got a very small top on. It's hard to tell because of the quality of the clip. Not to jump to conclusions, but perhaps they had something naughty planned. Whatever the case, they won't see it come to fruition. A very short creature appears from nowhere and starts to move in their direction. The creature, however, seems particularly interested in the girl. She, on the other hand, is amused seeing this ape-like short and, for a lack of better words, ugly creature taking an interest in her. She approaches it, and then it launches at her. At that moment, she starts running from it, and so does the cameraman. But what is that? Initially, we had no idea, but after reviewing local folklore for where the footage was taken, we realize it's called a pombero. It's a very small cryptid that's said to go after naughty girls. It kisses them and sometimes gets intimate with them. Given what the lady is wearing and where they are, perhaps they had a naughty agenda planned, which may have lured Don Pombero out. But what do you think? For our next footage, we visit Fairfield, Ohio. I know you spotted the man running in the first few seconds of the clip, but trust me, it's not due to an earthquake or thieves on his tail. No, it's something much more ominous and sinister. Listen. Did you hear it? This guy has been hearing these spine-chilling sounds emanating from the woods, and he has no clue what they are. As the sounds grew louder and more terrifying, he made up his mind to gather some evidence. When the sounds resumed, he hurriedly dashed outside, hence why you catch a glimpse of him running. He insists those sounds were way more bone-chilling and nerve-wracking than they come across on record, and you know what? We believe him. One question remains. What was making that sound? The uploader of the footage believes it's a Bigfoot. What say you? Before we move on to the next one, do tell me something. Would you camp out in an area rumored to have Bigfoots just to prove their existence? Or does this sound like a dumb and unsafe idea? Share your thoughts in the comment section. You know, there are times when I pretend to not know something just so you guys can tell me what it is. Well, this isn't one of those times. I genuinely have no idea what the creature in the next clip is. Perhaps you can help. Does it look like anything that you've ever seen or handled? No one in my team knows what it is, and I certainly don't have an idea what it is either. I've combed the internet, but just didn't know how to describe it to bring it up. Given the fact that the one recording the footage is wearing gloves, I'm pretty sure it's either poisonous or venomous. But what is it really? If you have answers, please share them with us in the comment section. We really want to know. A hiker came across this strange structure in the middle of the woods. It was a cave made out of branches that had been carefully put together. Who or what could have made this cave in the middle of the woods? Some skeptics are leaning toward the idea that this might just be a hunter's hideout, but the true paranormal enthusiasts are throwing their bets on it being a Bigfoot cave. Because, you know, nothing says Bigfoot was here like a carefully crafted branch cave. What do you think is the truth behind the structure? Is it just some DIY project by an over-enthusiastic camper, or did Bigfoot pull a grand design move in the heart of the forest?
Well, grab your crucifixes and holy water for this next footage. This footage was taken by a woman in Mexico. This babysitting here is known as the vampire doll. Yes, you heard that right, a vampire doll. This pint-sized terror is decked out in a white dress, and as if that wasn't unsettling enough, it's clutching a feeding bottle filled with a vivid red liquid that can only be described as blood-like. But the real soul-chilling thing about it is its eyes. Those beady little orbs seem to track the individual's filming every move. Now, folks have their theories about this pint-sized harbinger of chills. Some say it's a demon doll, a cousin to the infamous Chucky. Others, perhaps a tad more rational, might argue it's just a cleverly designed toy with a penchant for optics. But if you ask me, I'd side with the cautious. Perhaps a splash of holy water and a healthy dose of fire wouldn't be amiss when it comes to dealing with such a doll. After all, who's ready to let something straight out of a nightmare haunt their dreams? Not me, that's for sure. Well, we've certainly stumbled upon something that's a head-scratcher. In the world of Trailcam mysteries, this one's a real enigma. Picture this, a vast open field, and in the middle of it all stands a creature that's, well, peculiar to say the least. This oddity is a sight to behold. It's covered in what seems like tattered rags from head to toe. Its skin appears burnt, giving it an eerie and unsettling appearance. Take a look at those fingers, claw-like and asymmetrical, with one seemingly larger than the other. It's safe to say this is no ordinary sighting. Now, the million-dollar question is, what on earth is this creature? The size alone rules out a mere hoax unless we're dealing with a child in an exceptionally bizarre costume or a CGI creation. Which do you think it is, real or an elaborate hoax to deceive us? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
While on a family stroll, a man and his family discover something interesting. It's a peculiar rock structure that's shut tighter than a treasure chest should be. He suspects it could be a secret government facility or one that leads to aliens. Now, I'm not one to jump to conclusions, but this is giving strange, weird, and suspicious vibes. It's like the beach's version of Fort Knox, but made of rocks. The big question is, what on earth could be tucked away inside? That, I guess, we'd never find out.
To the ground again. What if this is a freaking government secret door or there's aliens behind it? I don't know. You tell me. Bye.
Before you watch the next clip, could you please hit the like button, subscribe, and even drop a comment if you haven't already? It goes a long way to make it possible to create more videos for you. Thank you for doing so. Moving back to the day's episode. Now that's a deer party you don't see every day. So you wake up one fine morning, stroll into your garage, and boom, you've got an audience of about 30 or more deer just chilling and giving you the deer in the headlights look. Talk about an overwhelming wake-up call. I mean, where did they all come from, and why are they just hanging out in the garage and staring at the guy like they own the place? And get this, the guy's not bothered in the slightest and just goes out to feed them. Is he running a deer spa in his garage, or does he just throw some snacks out regularly? Maybe they've got a deal. Who knows?
Now, in all our previous bonus footage, we had an animal for you to identify. Today, I thought we'd take it up a notch. Can you identify the creature making that blood-curdling noise? If you can, please head over to the comments section and tell us. The first accurate comment will be featured in our future videos. Trust me when I tell you this is an opportunity you don't want to miss. Start your comment with bonus footage so we easily identify it. All the best. Next, we have a creature standing in a field, and at first glance, it might appear to be a simple stray dog. But hold onto your hats, because the owner of this footage firmly believes that they've captured none other than the infamous chupacabra. For those unfamiliar with the creature, it's a dog-like creature that feeds on the blood of livestock. Upon close examination of the footage, you might notice that despite claims of it being a chupacabra, it looks surprisingly ordinary. Is this a case of mistaken identity, or has the elusive chupacabra truly been caught on camera? Perhaps it's become more adept at blending in than we've given it credit for. What do you think?
Next, we have a curious case from downtown Flint, Michigan. Take a look. The footage was sent in by a man who was more excited than he was knowledgeable about what he'd discovered. Nestled in the tree on your screen is a hard structure that looks like a stone with markings from ancient times, but from what we can tell based on the footage, the stone is buried deep in the ground as far as the roots go, and maybe deeper. The man claims this tree has been around for possibly 200 years or more. If that's true, how on earth did this thing end up inside the tree? Could it be a structure, perhaps from an ancient civilization, mysteriously embedded in the tree's core? It's hard to say, but my money is on that as the potential outcome. A woman and her kids decided to take a breather in the woods and just have some fun. But imagine the terror of the woman when she spotted a huge creature among the trees. The creature had dark fur and bulging muscled arms. It was stalking the woman and her kids. The frightened woman called out for her kids to get inside. The creature, when it realized that it had been spotted, dashed off. It looked like a Bigfoot, but its head had this peculiar look that did not tally with our image of a Bigfoot. Its arms were also abnormally large and muscular. Yes, Bigfoot has large arms, but not like that. So what's the deal here? Is this Bigfoot's gym buddy or just another creature adding a dash of mystery to the woods? Not knowing what she was dealing with, this mom was not taking any chances as she made everyone move back into the vehicle. I'm no prophet, but I can bet that she and her kids won't be making plans for a woodland picnic anytime soon.
Next, we have this footage from 2012. The video was recorded by a man who kept seeing a young ghost girl in the woods close to his home. Perplexed by the reoccurring encounters with the ghostly girl, he decided to record her, unsure if capturing a ghost on camera was even possible or if the ghost would reveal herself. During the initial moments of the footage, there's nothing apparent. However, keep a close eye on the left side of the screen, and you might catch a glimpse. Did you see it? It's faint, but a little girl runs out of frame at the left side of the screen. She appears from behind the tree and quickly runs off. In contrast to numerous online ghost videos featuring exaggerated apparitions, this one maintains a subtlety that lends its authenticity. And you know what? It makes me think this could be the real deal. But what do you think? Now we visit a country we haven't been to before, Costa Rica. While this sounds like a tropical paradise, do not be deceived. There are creatures that lurk in the dark. Don't believe me? Watch this footage. Did you see that? In the footage, we hear and see the dogs barking. While you might be tempted to think it's normal dog behavior, you realize it's not when you pay attention to the footage. The dogs are not just barking for the sake of it. Instead, they seem to be barking at something in the dark. Whatever it is, it soon shows itself in the dark and walks or crawls or whatever it's doing into the frame. Not only is this creature weird looking, but it also moves weirdly. What could it be? It's hard to say. I mean, have you ever seen anything like it? It's like a bizarre blend of spider and crab, judging by its movements and appearance. The creature is so odd that I was tempted to think it's a fake. That was until we came across a different angle of the same footage on TikTok. This one was taken by individuals and not a security cam. Even though we can't comprehend their words, one thing is clear. It's the same street and the creature is lurking in the far distance. Does that mean the footage is real? We'll leave that up to you to judge.
Technology and AI are advancing so fast that it is almost terrifying. Just take a look at this display in Vegas. The footage was taken by a passenger on a plane. He was filming what you see on your screen. You can see that the display starts with a round thing, and then as the image changes, we see a bottle image from it, and move upwards, it looks almost real, like a giant bottle, but it's fake. It's cool, sure, but it's also a tad bit terrifying, not because it's dangerous, but because it's unreal what we can do with technology these days. The scary part is that AI is basically involved in a lot of things of late and has become like that overachiever student acing every subject. So what are your thoughts on this? Is this really in Vegas? If it is, have you seen it? If you haven't, do you find it cool? Tell us in the comments. On that note, if you still haven't liked, commented, or subscribed to the channel yet, please do so now before I send that creature after you. On a more serious note, it really helps out a ton and gives us the opportunity to keep making these videos for you. So please do so and share this video with your friends and family. Thank you very much. Yes, these are actual Trailcam captures. Somehow the owner of this trail capture got lucky enough to capture not one, but two different Bigfoots near his campsite. According to him, he'd set it up so he could confirm once and for all if the rumors that Bigfoots live near their home were true. And boy, did he find out about their existence in grand style. I mean, it's either that or people found out what he was doing and decided to troll him. Looking at the capture, however, I'm tempted to believe that this is real. What about you?
Next, we have another capture of the Dogman Wolfman creature we shared earlier. This was received separately, albeit from the same location. I can't help but think it might actually be a never-before-seen type of cryptid. The increasing number of captures suggests that these creatures might be multiplying or that our presence in their territory is more frequent than ever before. What are your thoughts? Would you chase down Bigfoot if you ever saw him? If you answered no, then clearly you haven't seen this clip. A man was out with his family when, out of nowhere, he spotted an ape-like creature strolling down the street. It was brief, but it was enough for the man to know that his family was in danger. He quickly asked them to go inside, but instead of joining them, he pursues the creature into the bushes. The creature desperately attempts to flee from him. It swiftly dashes through the bushes, emanating peculiar vocalizations. It seems as if it were issuing a warning, compelling the man to keep his distance. The man persists in pursuit until the creature abruptly halts its sprint. Once it stops running, it starts pacing up and down with more aggressive vocalizations. It was almost as though the creature was contemplating whether to attack or stay away. While this was ongoing, the man realizes the creature was not as small as it looked from the distance. Now that he could see it up close, he realizes that it was at least 7 foot tall and had fur all around. Although it looked like an ape minus its giant size, it moved like a man. At that moment, a light bulb went off in his head, as you can see in cartoons. He realized that he'd been chasing a Bigfoot. That sudden realization made him back off, and thankfully the creature was not interested in harming him. He might just be one of the luckiest men in the world.
Are there horned men in existence? Well, if you answered no, our next footage might surprise you. Take a look. Imagine a well-built guy rocking what looks like a legit horn sticking out of his noggin, all while donning a snazzy skirt made of dried leaves. Talk about a fashion statement. See what I did there? I sounded young and hip. Kudos to myself. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, can humans even grow horns? That's a valid question by all standards. Sadly, it's one of varied and contradicting responses. I mean, well, it's not natural, but that doesn't make it impossible. We literally have a man on our screens who appears to have. Maybe this guy is a different species altogether, or perhaps Mother Nature decided to spice things up and give him an upgrade. As much as I want to roll out the wild theories, there's also the possibility that it might be a cultural thing. Some places around the globe are known for unique body modifications. Perhaps this is a modification that's done among his people. But since we cannot verify that, we're left to speculate and theorize. What's your theory? We're back in British Columbia again. This footage was sent in by a man who went fishing only to come across some tracks around a riverside. The soft soil on the ground had molded on it 3 perfect tracks. There were several of the footprints around, which were much bigger than his size 10 feet. The prints were about 15 or more inches and were pretty deep in the ground. Now, this fisherman's no stranger to these prints. He's been spotting them regularly and believes that Bigfoot lives around there. Now that you've seen them yourself, what do you think?
A thermal camera set in the woods caught footage of something disturbing in the middle of the night. What the camera captures is nothing short of extraordinary. In fact, have a look. In the footage, we see a colossal figure suddenly coming into view. It's not just standing there, mind you, it's running with gigantic strides. Given its size, its massive arms swing with an almost hypnotic rhythm. Looking at the capture, I'm pretty sure that the creature might be at least 7 to 8 feet tall. The location and hour of this peculiar sighting offer no comfort for those seeking a mundane explanation. The evidence on display simply doesn't align with the characteristics of a human being. The owner of this enigmatic footage believes with unwavering conviction that what we are seeing here could very well be the legendary Bigfoot. And you know what? Given the sheer size, the peculiar gait, and the location, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Don't you agree? This next footage takes me back to the days of watching Bridge of Terabithia and Tinkerbell. Don't judge me, I was young. The footage was captured by an enthusiastic explorer in search of creatures from the fairy realm. For those who don't know, the fairy realm refers to the magical realm where fairies and all other fairy tale creatures reside. After roaming the woods for minutes in the rain, this strong believer of the fairy realm is rewarded with a capture of one of them supposedly going back to its habitat after the rain stops. Although not entirely visible, we can discern that it stands at least 1 or 2 feet tall with long limbs and a slender build. You clearly don't need me to remind you it's active and on the go. Like many whimsical creatures, it's incredibly alert and quick to react to any potential danger, whether from predators, scientists, or explorers like the one recording this footage. Many who saw the footage believe it's the real thing. Personally, I don't know how to feel about it. There's a good chance it's CGI, but I also want to believe that this is the real deal. What do you think about the whole thing?
Here we see a tornado doing its thing as a force of nature on a rampage. Just look how it blows a car off the ground and bangs it back down. And the trees, they look like they're about to be uprooted from the ground. The most terrifying part is the sparks, which I'm suspecting might be coming from the electrical poles fixed in its path. The last thing anyone would want is to be near something like this. It's both terrifying and mesmerizing at the same time. Don't you agree? Next, we visit the mountains of Romania. This is one of those unaware clips where the individual in question captures something without knowing it till he's home. Enjoy. This is the image he captured. If you look closely behind the pile of twigs, you'll notice a creature with a striking primate resemblance. You don't need to zoom in to have an image of Bigfoot take over your imagination. As intriguing as the capture is, we've got to ask, why was Bigfoot there? Was he stalking the man? Did they accidentally cross paths? Or did it have something sinister planned? Either way, you have to agree that the man is quite fortunate that despite being so close in proximity to the creature, nothing funny or remotely dangerous happened to him, even if Bigfoots don't have a reputation for being violent.
Ever wonder about the hidden history behind things we encounter or even imagine? This footage showcases an unadorned fenced structure with few trees and no paint. At first glance, it appears this house was abandoned and left unfinished, but there's more to it that meets the eye. During the day, it's devoid of any human presence, with only a leafless tree to keep it company, but come nightfall, it hosts mysterious beings. One such is what you see on your screen. As displayed in the clip, a figure all in white emerges from the front part of the seemingly abandoned structure. We're not exactly sure if it knows it's being filmed, but it moves around freely without a care in the world. It looks like a little girl, but that property is abandoned with no one living there. Could it be a ghost? If it's not, what else could it be? And why does it only appear in the dead of night when no one else is around? Could it be the spirit of someone who once lived there? It's hard to say, but all evidence points to the fact that it's a ghost. Is it a real ghost, though? This is where things get dicey. Isn't it a bit odd that a camera was placed conveniently to capture a ghost roaming an abandoned building? It could be a coincidence et al., or perhaps they could have been investigating. Personally, the footage is ticking all the checkboxes of a hoax, but what do you think? Now let's take a look at something far more bizarre. This footage was uploaded onto Twitter back in 2022. According to the uploader, this blazing scene took place in Ohio. What we've got here is a mesmerizing carpet of fire sprawling across the streets of Ohio. Now, before you start wondering if this is some kind of supernatural event, here's the kicker. Instead of fleeing in terror, the bystanders are drawn like moths to a flame, getting closer to capture footage of this otherworldly spectacle. As you can see, their fascination knows no bounds. It's as if they've stumbled upon a real-life mystery that defies explanation. And speaking of explanations, the local fire department has had their say. They suggested that this astonishing display might have been sparked by an irresponsible smoker casually flicking a lit cigarette butt onto some flammable mulch. Now, while this theory may sound like a most plausible explanation, there's something undeniably mystical about watching a carpet of fire dance and flicker against the darkened night sky. It's a reminder that even in the age of science and reason, the world can still surprise us with its unexplained wonders. So, Ohio's fiery enigma, whether a mere cigarette misadventure or something more, continues to captivate our imagination. Does it captivate yours?
A truck driver went to work one morning just like every other time to go about his usual routine. But guess his surprise when he went to his truck and opened the door. The wheels of the truck were moving violently and the gear moving up and down. The truck was not moving or even ignited, so what in the world could be going on here? It's like the truck's got a mind of its own. But last time I checked, trucks don't come equipped with brains, right? I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure trucks don't do this. So what's the deal here? Is it some kind of auto-gymnastic routine, or maybe the ghost of a truck's past owner taking the wheel for a spin? I guess we may never know. Well, look at this mysterious bundle of joy. We've got a creature on our hands, and it's not exactly winning any beauty contests now, is it? After all, it's a hideous-looking creature that has the appearance of a baby. It also has very pale skin with razor-sharp teeth, spotting a strange smile that says, "I will eat you for dinner." Now, I don't know about you, but I'm seriously questioning who or what decided to create this little bundle of nightmares. Was it Mother Nature being sinister, or did some mad scientists decide to hit the Create Creepy Baby button in their secret lab? Share your thoughts.
Next, we have another Bigfoot capture from the Washington Peninsula. This is a more recent capture that is as recent as either 2021 or 2022. In the capture, we see an ape-like creature moving through the woods. You don't need me to tell you at this time that it has a human-like gait as well, but it does. Before you throw this out of the window and disprove it, the uploader added more details, including having seen it multiple times and heard it talk. Yes, you heard me right. They heard the creature talk, although he can't confirm the words were intelligible. He went back to the same area and found these large footprints. Yes, you don't need me to tell you they belong to the Bigfoot. It's literally in the name. Not only were they large, but deep too, to show that the creature was quite heavy. He went back again when it started snowing and found these footprints. These were found 10 miles from the Canadian border, which should tell you how dedicated the man was to finding Bigfoot. These discoveries suggest that Bigfoot is more mobile than we once believed, unless, of course, there are multiple creatures roaming the Washington area. What do you think, though? A profound find or a questionable one? This was supposed to be Trailcam capture of foxes and other small predators. Instead, it ended up being something more. If you carefully pay attention to the footage playing, you'd realize that aside from the canine we see in the foreground, there were 2 sets of eyes that appeared and then disappeared in an unnatural and eerie way. Did you catch that? What do you think it is? Could it be just another predator stalking the fox, or is there a night creature out there hiding from the camera? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
While at a lake, a group of kids came across a huge fish lying lifeless in the water. While I don't understand why the little boy is in the water with it, one can't help but think that lifeless creature does look like a shark with razor-sharp teeth. It is hard to identify the exact kind of fish it is because its skin appears to have already started decomposing. It is too small to be a whale and too big to be a dolphin. So what could this be? Share your thoughts. This footage has been circulating the internet for quite a while now, but every time I watch it, it just gives me anxiety. In the footage, we have a group of daredevils living life on the edge, deciding to turn the famous Monticello Dam into their own personal swimming pool. These guys are having a grand old time frolicking in the water. Like they're on vacation when one guy takes a not-so-graceful slip and down he goes into the glory hole. Now, the glory hole is not there for a casual dip. It's to control the water released to and from the dam. I don't know why these guys decided to take a bath there because it's very dangerous. Maybe next time they'll stick to safer waters like a regular pool or, anywhere that's not a dam with a name like glory hole.
Now tell me, what do you see? A bear, an ape, or an amalgamation of the two? It's not so easy, is it? At first glance, it appears to have a bear's face, but its body proportions defy those of a bear. In fact, they bear a striking resemblance to those of an ape. But here's the twist. Upon closer inspection, you notice that despite the ape-like proportions, the creature moves with a human-like gait, upright on 2 feet. Could this be a Bigfoot? However, based on our current knowledge, Bigfoots don't possess a bear-like visage. It's typically ape-like or more human-like, meaning it couldn't be. What about the legendary Dogman or Wolfman? While the concept of a Dogman seems plausible, the notion of a Wolfman raises more questions. Given its canine characteristics, it's understandable that it might resemble either of these bipedal entities. But what do you think? Is it a Dogman, Wolfman, or an entirely new cryptid we have never seen? Is it real at all? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Next, we have this creepy clip that's not exactly from the wild, but offers a similar thrill, if not more. In the clip, we see a woman call out to her pet dog who is laying down staring at something out of frame. The one recording the footage is obviously curious and tries to see what has her dog's attention. She walks in and is met with these weird-looking eyes staring from the darkness. She almost immediately gasps and then retreats. One question remains. What is that creature? The one who recorded and uploaded the video believes it could be some type of cryptid, and given the bizarre circumstances, that's not impossible, but we have watched the footage over and over and can't help but feel it might be a cat or a raccoon or some other small creature. A closer look, and it looks like the creature is sitting on something. What do you see, though? I came across an interesting take from a little boy on TikTok. He was asked whether he believes in bad spirits, and his response was quite thought-provoking. Take a look.
Well, kind of. They're not really spirits. So basically when, let's say, like, something happened, the energy of that event will create, like, its own entity. It will start going around the room, and this also happens in space, too. This can happen on any planet. This is not only for Earth, this can happen on any planet. So, when something bad happens, the energy from it will start circulating, and then it will start creating an orb, and then the orb becomes an entity, and then it starts learning from the thing. But then, since it's a low vibration, then that's basically why haunted house are haunted.
So it's energy created from
Trauma?
Trauma?
Yeah, trauma.
Okay, so when something really bad happens, that energy creates an orb energy, which creates almost as if it's an identity.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then it thinks it is.
It does?
But the energy is the only thing that's living, but it's not really living at the same time.
The bad energy, the negative spirits, are what is caused by human energy?
Yes. And not just human, like this happens on any planet. Like, it's not just for humans. Humans are not the main species. They're not the main alien species.
Wow, that is such an interesting
Just remember
perspective.
that for every question we do. So, what would you guys want me to answer next?
Did you hear that? He explained that when something bad happens, it creates negative energy like an orb. This orb then becomes an entity that lingers around the place where the incident occurred. According to him, this is why there are haunted houses and places the bad energy from the trauma creates an entity. It's such an odd take, but when you think about it, it makes sense. The idea that negative experiences can leave behind residual energy is a concept many people find intriguing. But how did a child come up with such an insightful explanation? It's mind-blowing. What do you think about this theory? Could bad events really create lingering entities? Share your thoughts. Some Bigfoot hunters ventured into the woods one night in search of the elusive creature, but were stunned to encounter what they believed was a fairy. Take a look.
Tell you what, down in there would be cool.
That's what I'm thinking. We'd have to take one time, be careful.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, we need to get out in the house. It'll be a little different.
In the darkness behind the trees, a small glowing creature could be seen flying or moving. It was larger than a firefly, but still small in size. The men who were experienced Bigfoot hunters claimed to have frequently seen these glowing creatures during their expeditions and firmly believe that they're fairies. Imagine being out in the dark woods searching for one legendary creature and stumbling upon something equally mysterious. These hunters were baffled and thrilled by their findings, but not everyone shared their enthusiasm. Some think they just came across a rodent, while some say they're only seeing the things they want to see. You guys have seen the clip too. What do you think?
Tell you what,
Down in there would be cool.
that's what I'm thinking. We'd have to take one time, be careful.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, we need to get out in the house. It'll be a little different.
The ever-fascinating subject of UFOs. It's a topic that has piqued the curiosity of many and continues to leave us with more questions than answers. Now let's break down this recent sighting. In this footage, we've got vigilant observers who managed to capture not one, not two, but 3 flying objects in the vast expanse of the sky. These mysterious objects are arranged in a precise triangular formation, and their disc-like shape is enough to make anyone raise an eyebrow. After all, when it comes to flying saucers, we all know who might be behind the wheel: the enigmatic aliens. But here's the real kicker. Despite the undeniable presence of these crafts, their pilots remain elusive. It's as if they're playing an intergalactic game of hide-and-seek with us Earthlings. The question on everyone's minds is, when will they finally reveal themselves, or could they already be among us incognito? Think about it. Speaking of strange animals, what do you make of this capture? Looking beyond the faded grass and the vibrant trees adorning the ground which sway in the wind like freshly washed hair in the wind, we see a mysterious creature which appears to be on a journey. I know that intro was a bit too much, but well, you can't deny it was nice. Anyway, coming back to our trail cam. You can't help but wonder what type of creature that is. It doesn't remotely appear to look anything like we know. Its size makes it too large for any creature I could think of. With its black appearance and 2 robust arms and legs, it could easily be mistaken for a male gorilla confidently navigating its territory. I'm uncertain. It's a bit unclear, just a speculation as usual. What could this creature be really? If it's not a gorilla, what is this black walking creature? A part of me wants to say large bat, but well, I won't let it. Kindly tell me what you think we're seeing in the comments section, as I really want to know.
This footage was taken from one of the living facilities on the continent, offering a rare glimpse into daily life in such an extreme environment. As the person walks us through the facility, we approach the entryway, and you can see that the walls and door are thickly coated with snow. Now watch what happens when the woman opens the door. Instantly, we're met with the ferocity of an Antarctic condition, one severe storm.
This is the entryway to our dorm. Normally this has carpet on the ground and the walls are just normally walls, you know, but we're going to open the door right now. It's a little bit like opening up the door to another world. Are you ready?
The wind howls furiously and the air is filled with swirling snow. This type of storm is incredibly dangerous, with temperatures plunging below minus 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Exposure for even a few seconds could be fatal. The harsh reality of life in Antarctica is vividly displayed here, reminding us of the extreme conditions faced by those who live and work on this icy continent. What do you think about the living conditions in Antarctica? Could you handle such an environment? Australia never fails to surprise with its abundance of unique wildlife, and a recent video captured at Bali Point is a testament to that. In the footage, a kangaroo was spotted taking an unexpected dip in the ocean, venturing out for a swim amidst the rolling waves. This sight may have seemed out of the ordinary for those accustomed to seeing kangaroos hopping across dry landscapes. While kangaroos are not typically associated with swimming, they are known to enter water bodies to cool off or escape predators when necessary. So basically, they can swim, but that doesn't explain the behavior in this clip. That got me thinking and researching. It turns out that kangaroos can actually lure predators into water bodies and drown them if they follow them in. Sounds dark, I know, but that's Mama Nature for you. The big question now is that what this kangaroo was trying to do?
Usually, when you hear Bigfoot, you think about a 6-foot or more creature, but this trail cam capture leaves us a little confused. There in the picture, you can see a primate with its back turned to the camera. While the creature's features are reminiscent of a monkey, its upright posture leaves us believing it's actually a Bigfoot. But why does Bigfoot have relatively pale, human-like skin where fur should be? I know animals can look different once they lose their fur, but this is a bit much. Once you get past the fact that we're basically seeing the butt of Bigfoot, you also have to deal with the fact that it's lost its fur. Do all Bigfoots have pale skin underneath their thick fur, or is this simply a Yeti? Also, it looks a little too small to be Bigfoot, unless, of course, it's a juvenile. Either way, I'd love your input on this. What do you think we're dealing with here? Tell us in the comments. Next, we move to southeast Indiana for an alleged capture of the footprints of Bigfoot. Bear in mind that this was captured as far back as 2019, so have a look. The footprints, likely made on a muddy day, appear in the video as significantly larger than man's feet, possibly 2 to 3 times the size. Given its depth in the ground, we can deduce that whatever made it is quite large and very, very heavy. Do you know any creatures that fit the bill? Well, the paranormal community believes it's a Bigfoot, and who can blame them? The footprint was 18 inches long, 6 inches wide, and 4 inches deep, and the distance between the tracks was 70 inches. Hypothetically, this Bigfoot is assumed to be 8 feet tall, weighing approximately 8 to 900 pounds. According to the uploader, 5 people have witnessed these sightings. This gives some credibility to the captures, but tell me, what would you do if you met a behemoth that size? Would you run, scream, or try to befriend it? Let us know. A group of fishermen were out on a boat near Zlobin, Belarus, when they noticed something unusual. There was a swarm of insects on the water's surface. To prove just how bad this was, they took off their caps and held them just over the water as the boat moved. When they showed the caps to the camera, they were filled with a thick cluster of insects. According to them, residents of the area have also been complaining about how insects have invaded their bus stations and playgrounds. This sudden surge of mosquitoes raises the question, what could be breeding these creatures in such large numbers? No one had answers, at least according to the one who made the post. One commenter, however, suggested that it might be mosquito season, as it is in the US and Canada, which could explain the increase. Others thought he was making a fuss over nothing, since it's not unusual to find bugs over lakes. But what do you think? Could there be other factors at play, or is it just a seasonal occurrence? A man in Thailand was out one night when he saw something odd in the sky. Take a look.
It's not a glitch in my phone. I'm zooming in. It's shining, doing something. And as far as I know, it's not a building. I don't know, guys. It's not a building. I know the buildings here. Look, this is my lighter. So this is this building. So it's very high. As far as I know, this is the highest building around here.
It was the strange glowing object that somewhat illuminated the night sky. The object kept changing colors in the sky, which is something you usually expect with fireworks when it comes to the sky. But this had nothing to do with fireworks. In fact, it was nothing he had seen before. Given how strange the thing looked, he had to reassure everyone who was watching the clip by telling them that it was not his phone glitching out. This was actually happening and he could see it with his own eyes. He asked everyone who was watching the clip if they'd seen that before, and if they had, to help him identify it. No one came out to say anything, of course, but the paranormal community was way ahead of them in terms of analysis and conclusion. They had concluded that this had to be a UFO. How else were they going to explain footage that shows an object pulsing and shifting colors in a way that seems almost otherworldly? It's very understandable. The phenomenon was too distinct and persistent to be easily explained away as a common occurrence or a technological malfunction. But then again, this is the internet era and people are capable of faking things. So what do you think? Could this be an authentic UFO sighting, or is there a more mundane explanation for this strange glowing object? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
Shining, doing something. And as far as I know, it's not a building. I don't know, guys. It's not a building. I know the buildings here. Look, this is my lighter. So this is this building. So it's very high. As far as I know, this is the highest building around here. And that thing is doing stuff, changing colors up there. I don't know. UFO. I don't know, guys. Anyone from Pattaya know what this is? Jumped in. Looks kind of weird to me. Standing very still.
For our next footage, we travel back in time to the Tatra Mountains of Poland in 2009. A group of friends were exploring the mountains and filming the experience when they saw what looked like a large man or a creature in the snow quite a distance from them. Shocked, they zoomed in trying to make out who or what and how they made it to such a remote part of the mountains. When the video was uploaded online, there was a frenzy in the paranormal community.
Unbeknownst to the hikers, their recording had captured an elusive Bigfoot. It was inconceivable for a large man to be traversing such a remote and frigid expanse without proper winter attire. The creature or person they saw had nothing of that sort on. The community concluded that the black overall was simply fur and that the carefree nature of the creature simply meant it lived there. Although Poland isn't commonly associated with Bigfoot sightings, could this be the first Bigfoot sighting in Poland? Tell us what you think. Stepping away from that dark and quite frankly very disturbing footage, we have this rare capture of a Bigfoot that was even featured on TV in 2014. Just like all other Bigfoot captures, this creature has an ape-like body yet a very human-like gait. Unlike other Bigfoot footage, this capture is remarkably close to the camera, providing a more detailed, albeit blurry view. As we can see from the capture, the creature moves quickly, but we get a good look at its body. It doesn't look like a suit, and neither does it look like CGI. Considering the technological limitations of the time, CGI would have been incredibly challenging. Moreover, the positioning of shadows and other details in the footage appears to be consistent. The paranormal community and even some non-believers believe this is the real deal. What do you think? While on a boat ride in Costa Rica, a woman captured something extraordinary.
Bro, look at that. It's a whole head paddling underwater. That shit is crazy.
In the distance, she saw what appeared to be a giant head with half of its face submerged under the water. Naturally, this has sparked a lot of interest and speculation online. One commenter suggested that this could be a case of pareidolia, a phenomenon where the mind perceives familiar patterns like faces in random stimuli. This explanation might make sense, as natural formulations or reflections in the water can sometimes create illusions that look remarkably like human features. However, others believe this might be evidence of something more mysterious, perhaps even connected to the legends of giants. I have much to say about this, but perhaps in a separate video dedicated to giants. In the meantime, don't hold back on sharing your thoughts.
Bro, look at that. It's a whole head paddling underwater. That shit is crazy.
They always say microwaves are dangerous, but in this fast-paced age where you need to quickly warm your food or bake a DIY cake, microwaves feel like a lifesaver. However, take a look at this footage and tell me what you think about microwaves afterward.
Holy shit, guys, you've got to watch this. You've got to watch it. You've got to stay with me. Watch this quickly. I'm going to turn you... Okay. Boiling water in the microwave. We're going to take the water out. Put it there, look. And we're going to test it. You watching? That is going off, look. You see that? That's out of the microwave, guys. That is going off, isn't it?
In the video, a man heats water in the microwave, takes it out, and uses a standard electromagnetic radiation EMR detector. As soon as he brings the detector close to the water, the device goes off, beeping non-stop. Even if you are like me, who doesn't know much about this stuff, you're likely to conclude that this doesn't look good. And that's what I did. I showed it to my team, and they said things like, "Imagine the amount of radiation we're exposed to from warming our food. Microwaves are incredibly convenient, but this demonstration proves we shouldn't have them in our homes." I kept going on and telling everyone we ought to be concerned and needed to make sure we didn't have radiation in our homes. I almost said this was one of the reasons for cancer. Everyone has had enough, and that's when they brought Julius in to address me. Julius, being Julius, that is the team's science whiz, looked at me and smiled. He told me he knew how I loved conspiracies, but there was actually nothing to worry about. He then explained that the type of radiation used in microwaves is non-ionizing, meaning it doesn't have enough energy to remove tightly bound electrons or ionize atoms or molecules. Non-ionizing radiation, such as microwaves, is generally considered safe and is not known to cause cancer. Seeing I was confused, he used examples. He stated that ionizing radiation like X-rays or gamma rays is the type that can cause damage to cells and DNA, leading to cancer. Microwaves don't fall into this category. I questioned him about the man's device, and he stated that standard EMR detectors are designed to measure electromagnetic fields in the environment. They could detect EMFs from various sources like electrical appliances, cell phones, and other electronic devices. If an EMR detector beeps when brought near heated water, it might be detecting residual heat or steam rather than electromagnetic radiation. EMR detectors are not typically sensitive to heat or steam, so this could indicate a misunderstanding or misuse of the device. He also added that the video seems to misinterpret what the EMR detector is measuring. The beeping might be due to other environmental EMFs or a malfunction of the detector. It made me go back to the comments section of the clip, and most of the science whiz on our platforms was saying the same thing. Some even stated that the bowl might be the reason for the beeps. Now, what he said makes a lot of sense, so I'm tempted to believe him. But guys, what if Julius turned on us? What if the microwave companies and the government paid all the science guys to say this? Should I be worried, or am I just being paranoid? You tell me.
That is going off, look. You see that?
For our next footage, I think it'd be best if you saw it before you heard anything I had to say. Did you see that? What do you make of it? The individuals behind the camera believe they captured a sighting of a skinwalker. Now, let's delve into the analysis. The video begins with a group of young men capturing a breathtaking landscape on camera. It appears they were on a hike, trek, or camping expedition, eager to document the beauty surrounding them. Their peaceful recording is abruptly disrupted when an individual dashes into the frame only to vanish just as quickly. At first glance, it may not seem out of the ordinary, but upon closer inspection, you'll notice something unsettling about the man's appearance. His arms are of unnatural proportions, and he runs a little hunched across the screen. It's no surprise that the young man suspected could be a skinwalker. But is it, though? Opinions within the paranormal community are divided, with some believing it's a skinwalker, while others remain skeptical. They find it hard to believe. After all, how could they conveniently be filming at the exact spot where the skinwalker appeared seemingly out of nowhere and managed to capture it on camera? But what do you think? Is this a genuine case of a skinwalker, or do you smell an elaborate hoax? Share your thoughts with us. Have you ever had that feeling that someone was watching you from the darkness? Well, I'm pretty sure that's exactly how the fox in the Trailcam footage you are seeing now felt. The fox was leisurely exploring its environment when, all of a sudden, it came to a halt. Its gaze was fixated on the trees as if sensing a presence lurking within the bushes. At first glance, you see nothing, but once you carefully look in the direction of its gaze, you see it. There's something out there. We see two eyes dazzling with light looking at the fox. The fox is supposed to be a predator, but it looks like it's about to become prey. This mysterious entity looms larger than the fox, seemingly having stalked it unnoticed for quite some time. It's hard for us to say exactly what it is, but what do you think it is? Is it merely another wild animal with a predatory interest in the fox, or are we gazing upon an otherworldly creature? Share your thoughts in the comments section. The next one is this perplexing clip that has surfaced online, showcasing a woman defying gravity as she stands upside down on the side of a building.
Tweaking right now, real talk. I don't know what she's doing, but she got a lot in her mind, bro. It's weighing her down, real talk. God damn.
The footage has left viewers baffled, pondering the possibility of such a feat in the realm of physics. Upon closer inspection, however, it becomes evident that this display is not merely a physical marvel, but rather a product of digital manipulation. While the illusion is strikingly convincing, our in-house video editor believes this is more likely the result of advanced editing techniques rather than a demonstration of supernatural abilities.
She tweaking right now, real talk. I don't know what she's doing, but she got a lot in her mind, bro. It's weighing her down, real talk. God damn.
Still on strange things in the sky, we move all the way to Kentucky.
There you go.
If
Check
that's
it.
not a UFO, what is it?
Check it out. There it is.
Yeah, but
Beautiful. Scary at the same time.
you want my phone? You want phone?
Look at that.
A group of friends were out one night when they spotted something strange in the sky. There were two unusual celestial bodies. One was the moon, the other was a red planet-like object positioned behind it. This red planet-like thing in the sky looked pretty close to the Earth. Not only that, this red planet was also rotating, which is weird. The one recording was very sure and very convinced that he was looking at the planet Nibiru. There was further speculation that this planet could be the reason for the recent surge in UFO and UAP sightings. A few years ago, I would have jumped on the bandwagon and asked the government to tell the truth. But if this is true, and there was really a planet that large close to our planet, we could see it too, right? I mean, everyone would have noticed it. Aside from that, we wouldn't see it rotating like it is now, since our planet would also be rotating too. Unless, of course, this is rotating too fast. Don't even get me started on the damage the gravitational pull from both planets would cause. Based on this evidence, I, along with all the science whizzes out there, call hoax on this clip. If you think Julius taught me everything I am saying, you're right. If you also think I learned and told you everything because I am an innate genius, you're also right. But what do you think of the whole thing?
Now look at that. See this? Couldn't see it at first with my naked eye because I'm trying to look at the moon and the camera at the same time. Well, check that out. Look at that.
Now let's dive into a fascinating chapter of the internet's cryptid chronicles. Back on September the 3rd, 2013, the digital world was set abuzz by a single enigmatic image shared by a Facebook user. What did this image reveal, you ask? Well, none other than the piercing eye of a mysterious creature. A trailcam carefully positioned to capture the secrets of the forest had seemingly caught the attention of an inquisitive visitor. This creature, whoever or whatever it was, decided to get up close and personal with the camera. As many trail camera enthusiasts know, animals often get curious when they encounter these devices on their turf. What if I told you this was no ordinary encounter? What if I told you the eye that peered into the lens was unlike any that had been seen before? Even after experts compared it to close-up images of various creatures, none seemed to be a perfect match. It was as if this eye belonged to some other creature. The conclusion, as intriguing as it may be, led many to the realm of Bigfoot. Yes, you read that right. Bigfoot, the legendary humanoid cryptid of the wilderness. Why? Because this eye held a curious blend of human-like characteristics while still maintaining an air of mystery that set it apart. Of course, it's worth noting that the world of cryptids is filled with ambiguity and speculation. What one person sees as proof, another might dismiss as a trick of the light or an optical illusion. An expert compared the eye against that of a hog and was very convinced that there was no Bigfoot involved. He strongly believes it's definitely a hog. Given the options, which do you think it is? In this video clip, we see a house painted in a yellowish or cream color set against a less than perfectly mowed lawn. The area is well lit with strategically placed lights. At this quiet time of day, nothing seems amiss. However, our assumptions are quickly proven wrong when a shadow suddenly emerges from behind the camera. We notice this presence thanks to the light strategically placed throughout the area. Shortly after it passes, an alarm goes off, signaling a trespasser. This startles the unknown creature, causing it to pause briefly. However, it resumes its movement once the alarm stops. The shadow reveals the immense size of this unknown creature, complete with a slight hunchback and long muscular arms. Despite its size, it moves silently and could have gone unnoticed if not for the alarm. What do you think this ginormosity of a creature is? My bet's on a Bigfoot, but I'd like to hear your thoughts too.
Another intriguing piece of footage has emerged, this time from a graveyard. What makes a graveyard so interesting, you ask? Well, there was smoke emanating from the area, yet there was no visible fire.
Вот еврейское кладбище в Дербенте. А вот это странно загорелось.
The sight of smoke rising from a graveyard may naturally evoke thoughts of the supernatural. After all, who would be setting fires in a cemetery? However, one insightful commenter proposed a different perspective. It's possible that this mysterious smoke is not the result of nefarious activities, but rather a cultural practice. In some traditions, people light incense at graveyards as a means of warding off negative energy or paying respects to the departed. Let's hope that this explanation holds true and that the smoke is indeed the product of a benign ritual rather than something more sinister. Someone in the original post also made this comment. The thing here is, none of my team members can understand or translate, so we can't confirm or disprove this. If you can, we'd like to hear from you.
Вот еврейское кладбище в Дербенте. А вот тут страну
Fish that looks like a fish but isn't a fish at all. Confused? Well, that's exactly what the Chinese government was expecting and counting on when they created what you're seeing on your screen.
可以，哎，这个可以，刚才这老师说了，就为了去这个探测，
间谍嘛，
当间谍，然后跑出去游完了再游回来，电能放多长时间啊？
Still confused? Believe it or not, that's a drone. Yes, a realistic underwater drone that has been designed and built in the form and shape of a fish. The developers of the drone state that its battery is capable of lasting for roughly 6 to 8 hours. If it had been developed by normal scientists, I would have said it was for research purposes, but given its military origins, it can only be one thing, or a couple of military-related things. Espionage, stealth missions, and other things I should definitely not be saying out loud. Someone on one of the platforms where this was shared made this profound statement. It does sound funny, but when you think about it, that's a possibility. Anyway, let's see what the future holds with this invention. But what do you guys think?
可以，哎，这个可以，刚才这老师说了，就为了去这个探测。
If at this point you still disagree with the existence of ghosts, sit tight as I bring you more insights on this. In the footage, we see a man in the woods with his dog. I'm not exactly sure how the footage is being captured, but it might be a body cam or a head cam. Now pay attention to the footage. You'll notice a strange ghostly creature moving at the top right corner of the footage. The skeptic in me would have immediately called it a hoax, but look at the mannerisms of the dog. It picks up the being and also looks in that direction. This means that whatever was moving there is really there. Now, the question of its authenticity is another ballgame altogether. Could it be a man in a costume, or is it really a ghost moving through the woods? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Ghosts. They've been the subject of tales and folklore for centuries, haven't they? The idea of our dearly departed neighbors wandering the earthly realm with unfinished business, it's enough to send a shiver down anyone's spine. Now let's talk about this intriguing security camera footage. In the dead of night, we see a lone figure strolling along clutching a trusty flashlight. Nothing too unusual there, right? But here's where it gets hair-raising. Right as this person passes by, another figure emerges, shadowy and ethereal in form. It's like something out of a classic ghost story. This second figure is not your typical late-night wanderer. He or she appears hazy, translucent, and within the blink of an eye, it vanishes into thin air. Now, some might argue that this could be a result of some pretty impressive video editing, and in today's digital age, that's a valid point. But personally, I doubt it is. This footage looks like the real deal if you ask me. If it is, was that a ghost, or is it an otherworldly creature trying to materialize in ours? You tell me. So, I've seen a lot of strange bird behaviors in my day, but never have I seen this.
Believe it or not, that's a woodpecker, and it appears to be frozen in motion. Why? I wasn't exactly sure, and the comments section of the original post was crazy. Take a look at this comment. While this was funny, it didn't solve the mystery, so being the researcher I am, I had to do some research, and boy was it worth it. It turns out that there are woodpecker species that freeze whenever they're threatened. They can remain motionless against the trunk of a tree and will not return to normal activities for up to 10 minutes. It's possible that the woodpecker noticed the man and froze out of fear. Well, that's the only working hypothesis I have right now. Also, I felt this might be a downy woodpecker, but another person in my team states it looks like the lesser spotted woodpecker. I can't say for sure which it is, but the woodpecker experts here can help us. Either way, I'm glad I saw this clip because I learned something new. What about you? Believe me when I say I've seen some strange things in my day, but this next clip has me stunned. Take a look. First off, we're not told who recorded this clip, where they recorded it, and why they were recording in the first place. The only thing we know is they were exploring the depths and came across a creature that was trying to escape their light. If you look closely, you'll see this creature. The team noticed this and turned off the lights. After a few seconds, they turned the lights back on and saw this creature in its full glory. I've looked at the clip several times and can't seem to make it out. Some of my team members joked that it was Godzilla, but if that was indeed Zilla, the only thing we would have been finding of that vessel, if the clip is indeed real, was its black box. Anyway, can you guys help out with analyzing this? What do you see? Is this even real at all? I'll be reading your comments. If possible, start with the word analysis to make it easier to find. Thank you. The footage was captured in the woods and shows an ape-like creature casually moving through the woods. Unlike the other Bigfoot footage seen, this one is a bit controversial to me. The dog fur looks like a coat or a suit, and the being moves like a human with human body proportions. What do you think though, real or fake? Tell us in the comments section. Next, we take a trip to a creepy inn in England. Wow, that's quite a mouthful. Anyway, back to our clip. Would you visit a place that has a reputation for being creepy and weird with a lot of unexplained paranormal occurrences? If you answered no, you are not alone, but such an answer would be unacceptable for the individuals responsible for the clip. They decided to visit the ancient Ram Inn, knowing perfectly well that the place was well known for creepy occurrences. Once they were settled in, they decided to offload their bags and set up a camera in hopes of capturing a paranormal occurrence on camera. It didn't take too long, however, as their camera bag started to move by itself once they were almost done setting up their camera. Luckily, the camera was already rolling, and we managed to capture the entire incident on film. If you pay attention to the audio, you'll hear a woman's startled remarks. Personally, I don't see why they're shocked because they signed up for it. Take it from this footage. Before choosing your next inn or hotel, make sure you do your homework. Those funny stories you've heard about a place, unless you're actively seeking thrills, it's best not to randomly choose a place to spend the night during your trip. Who knows what horrors you may encounter? You have been warned. A passenger on a plane flying over Nevada shared this fascinating footage of a light show on the ground below. At first glance, one might mistake these lights for luminous entities floating in the desert landscape. However, after a lot of digging around, I came across a comment that provided an alternative explanation. The individual stated that this was probably recorded just above the solar station in Nevada. If that's the case, then it would explain the light show. It would just be sunlight being reflected from solar panels on the ground. While the logical explanation seems plausible, the allure of mystery still lingers. Could there be more to these lights than meets the eye? With the desert's reputation for the unexpected, who's to say for certain? Most of the time, we say we're scared of ghosts, creatures, and cryptids, but we often forget that sometimes humans can be more terrifying than any other predator out there. In this chilling footage, a woman is seen opening her apartment door as the lights flicker. She looks up at the security camera above, perhaps sensing something amiss. As she opens the door, we see she has a young girl with her. They're just about to enter when suddenly a man rushes in, dragging the woman inside. Moments later, he comes back out and drags the child inside too. The video leaves us in suspense as we don't know what happened to them. At the end, you can see the woman's legs showing at the edge of the door, a haunting image that hints at something dangerous. Be safe out there. Humans can be the most dangerous creatures of all.
Disclaimer, this next capture may be the most disturbing on our list. If you don't have the stomach for it, you might want to skip ahead by 30 seconds. If you can hear me, then you decided to listen, but I pray this does not become a thing you end up regretting. For our next Trailcam, we travel all the way to Canada, not for the cold weather, but for the cold-hearted woman you see in the capture. Yes, those are naked women feasting on a dead deer. The one who captured this had set up a trail camera near the carcass of a deer in hopes of capturing predators feasting on it. Little did she expect that instead of predators, two partially naked women would emerge from the darkness to partake in the feast. Could they be witches simply having their dinner, or could there be something more sinister happening here? Perhaps an initiation or ritual to a cult. No one knows, but the story and footage have spooked all who have heard it. Are you one of those?
This footage was recorded by a man who was woken up by strange screams in the middle of the night. Now, most of us would probably hide under the covers and call for help. The most we may do is grab a flashlight, but not this guy. Oh no, he went out to see what it was, and this is what he found. Hanging from the tree is this ghostly figure disturbing the whole neighborhood. The first thing that came to my mind was a ghost, but why the screaming though? Is it an evil spirit having a midnight meltdown on the tree branches, or did someone lose their way during a creepy costume party? I mean, who hangs out on a tree in the middle of the night? The footage abruptly ends there, so we don't know if the man went further to investigate or if he just retired to bed. What do you think that thing is though? Any experience? This man was holding a pale-faced mask with dark circles around haunting eyes and black lips. He had a face filter on, and as soon as he smiled, the mask also appeared to smile, giving it a terrifying expression. Just look at how freaked out the man is. Despite how terrifying it looks, many people are not convinced that this is real. It seemed that the face filter picked up the mask, which is why it appeared to smile. Technology can sometimes create eerie and unexpected results, adding a touch of the supernatural to our everyday lives. What do you think of this, and what would you have done if you saw a mask smile like that? A subscriber sent in an intriguing picture. They mentioned that a friend had discovered a strange-looking creature embedded in a rock. Creature appears to be a tiny humanoid with wings. The creature was dried up and stuck to one side of the rock, while the other rock had an outline of its shape. Based on everything science has taught us and discovered, there are no creatures like this. When we stepped away from science, however, this falls in line with what we could commonly refer to as a fairy. It must have been there for a long time, as the fairy-like figure was completely dried and preserved in the rock's imprint. While this sounds interesting, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. Is this really real, or is this an elaborate hoax meant to mislead us? Share your thoughts. Sailing across the wide open sea is an adventure full of challenges and sometimes amazing moments. In this footage, some voyagers on a huge ship in the middle of the ocean come across this huge iceberg. At least, that's what the audio suggests.
We hit some ice. Oh my god! Oh my god! Whoa!
Icebergs are formidable natural formations that demand respect and careful navigation to avoid any potential mishaps. From what we heard in the background, the ships did hit the iceberg, but luckily it wasn't something that caused any harm to the people or the ship. Personally, when I look at it, I don't see an iceberg. No, it looks like some sort of sea creature, but you guys can let me know what you think of the whole thing. Perhaps it's my paranoia at it again. A diver was on a seabed underwater going about his business when this curious fella came poking its nose in his business. Now, what fish is this? It's pretty big with a huge forehead and very noticeable lips. I guess it's not predatory because it doesn't attack the diver. Julius whispered the answer into my ears, but I think this might do well as trivia. Do you know what this is? Kindly tell us in the comments section and do well to include an interesting fact about them. A woman recently realized something strange about her dog's eyes and decided to upload online seeking answers. Take a look. Someone in my team thought this was possession, but after a lot of teaching from Julius, the conclusion is that they looked glazed over. I feel it's important to note that the person was not me. Back to the dog. This phenomenon can apparently occur in dogs for various reasons, often related to health, age, or eye conditions. This image was, however, uploaded on one of our paranormal platforms and it has sparked a range of theories and arguments. Some people speculate that the glazed eyes might indicate something more sinister, such as a shapeshifter or skinwalker. These are creatures from folklore believed to have the abilities to transform into animals. Some also think the glazed appearance could simply be due to the woman shining a light directly into the dog's eyes, which can cause a reflective or glazed look. Now the question is, who's right, the speculators or Julius? Share your thoughts. These kinds of sightings are often attributed to the legendary Bigfoot. Given the sheer size of the prints, if they were made by a human, it would have to be an extraordinarily large individual. The depth and clarity of the impression suggest that whatever made them was incredibly heavy, further adding to the intrigue. Many locals are convinced that these tracks are definitive evidence of Bigfoot, a creature of folklore that has captivated imaginations for generations. However, skeptics continue to argue that it could be a clever hoax or the result of natural phenomena. The size and shape of the prints, though, continue to baffle and fascinate everyone who sees them. What do you make of these colossal footprints? Could this be the elusive Bigfoot, or is there a more mundane explanation? In various religious traditions, angels are considered to be spiritual beings created by a higher power, such as God or a supreme deity. They are highly revered and play a significant role in different religions.
Angelic vision at sunset on this night of the papal election. We had more than a few viewers write in saying that they spotted this cloud and they say it resembles an angel.
On a day that was not disclosed but rumored to be the day a pope was named, a peculiar sighting made it to the news. It was a uniquely shaped cloud that was spotted over Palm Beach County. The cloud appeared to be in the form of a giant being with widespread wings resembling an angel. It's worth noting that although some natural phenomena cause people to see clouds shaped like familiar objects, this particular cloud was distinct due to its unusual shape. The interesting thing also is the fact that many saw it as well. Take this comment for instance. It's important to keep in mind that although angels are not considered to be cloud beings, their depiction as winged beings has been a common theme throughout history, making the sighting a fascinating and thought-provoking one.
This was sent in by Rob just a few minutes ago. You can see that cloud angel off in the distance, high in the sky, around sunset.
During the recent total solar eclipse, a family decided to head out to witness the celestial event. However, after the eclipse, they were in for a surprise when they spotted something questionable in the sky.
Whoa, what's that? Oh my, I knew it's a left-wing cover-up. This is what they're covering up.
What is that?
Take a picture. Take a picture. TMZ will buy it.
It's a drone?
Drones don't light up like that. That's an alien right there.
Looking toward the horizon, they noticed a glowing red sphere amidst the clouds. The sun was setting at this time, and the clouds were getting darker, but there was a mysterious red glow in the sky that caught their attention. The strange red light persisted for a while before fading into nothingness, but the family was left with several questions. What could this glowing red sphere have been, and where did it come from? Could it have been related to the lunar eclipse or something else entirely? A number of individuals who saw it thought it was a flare. One individual, however, insisted it was a CERN portal that had been exposed by the eclipse. A small section stated that they also experienced it, but couldn't explain what it was. I did some digging around and couldn't come up with anything. These sightings have piqued the interest of many, and it's unclear what they signify. What do you think that they could be?
Holy, what the hell is that? It confirmed that the eclipse is a cover-up for alien activity.
Jonathan, look at it.
The deep state is lying to us.
Look at it.
This bird clearly has an eye for design, as the makeover is quite striking. Parrots are known for their intelligence and playful nature, but this one seems to have taken it to the next level. After a little reading around, it turns out the bird felt the man's head was bare and not good looking. It then took upon itself to decorate it. Apparently birds only do this with someone they feel is one of them. In human language, this is just like saying, I love you, and boy would I give you anything for Pickles, my orange cat, to show this level of affection to me. Next, we have another pair of Bigfoot enthusiasts who set out one night into the well-known Bigfoot hotspots. Given the time that they were going out of their exploration, they brought a heat sensor along. There was no way Bigfoot was going to escape their sight. And surely enough, while they were out there, they caught a heat signature on their device. Soon after, they noticed a pair of glowing eyes in the distance, seemingly stalking them from afar. The enthusiasts firmly believed that those bright eyes belonged to a Bigfoot. Unfortunately, the creature fled before they could get good footage, leaving them with just the image of the glowing eyes. But what do you think? Could that really have been a Bigfoot, or is it something else entirely? Share your thoughts. This one is definitely not me being paranoid. You see it too, don't you? It appears to be some huge octopus caught in a tango with the pillar. Its tentacles are moving all around the structure, which makes you wonder what exactly it's doing in such an unusual place. The mysterious situation with the octopus and its decision to interact with the pillar has led to a speculation. Some people suggest that the video might be AI generated, while others think it's the real deal.
Is a beautiful drone shot. The kind of video that you might see in a travel video, right? Except it's not real.
AI-generated content has become advanced, making it hard to tell what's real and what's created digitally. The chance of AI involvement bringing in some uncertainty, making viewers question whether the scene is genuine. What do you make of it though, AI or real? Here we have another thing to ponder about. There are ancient beliefs in various cultures about sacred trees that should not be cut down. Some believe them to be reincarnations of their ancestors, while others believe them to be gods or whatnot. In this footage, a man comes across a tree with blood-like liquid coming out of it. I know there is a scientific explanation for this, but let's play the devil's advocate for a minute. What if this tree is one of those sacred trees? Think about it. Just a quick reminder before the next clip comes, if you still haven't liked, commented, or subscribed, could you do so right now? You wouldn't want me to send a giant or a big lizard or an alien after you now, would you? Now let's take a look at a very controversial subject. We all know that Joe Biden is the President of the United States. However, recently there have been things about the president that don't quite add up. In the video, a man is standing on a stage with other dignitaries behind him, including the president. The man turns his back and shakes everyone's hand, but something unusual happens. The president goes in for another handshake, but the man does not respond, leaving him looking confused. Many people are saying that President Biden might have dementia, which could explain his behavior in this instance. Some also think he's a clone that's not exactly normal. What do you guys think? Say goodbye to having fake teeth after losing your natural ones. Finally, I can have new teeth. Wow, I didn't mean to say that out loud. Pretend you didn't hear that. Scientists have developed a groundbreaking tooth regrowth medicine, the first of its kind. This innovative treatment is set to be tested in September 2024 at Kyoto University Hospital. The medicine will first be tested on healthy individuals, followed by patients with a congenital tooth deficiency to confirm its safety and effectiveness, with the goal of marketing it by 2030. It works by deactivating the USAG1 protein to enable tooth growth. This treatment could benefit people with congenital tooth absence as well as those who have lost teeth due to cavities or injuries. I'm not going to pretend to fully understand the exact science behind it, but imagine the possibility of regrowing your own teeth instead of relying on implants or dentures. This breakthrough would revolutionize dental care and improve the quality of life for countless people. I don't know about you, but I can't wait for this to be fully out. 2030 all of a sudden feels too far, and before you conclude, this has nothing to do with my accidental spill of too much info at the beginning of this clip. Thank you very much, and with that, we move on to the next clip. I know many of you watching today's episode may have heard of Area 51 and seen it a lot in alien movies and documentaries. But did you know there's an actual US base in Nevada called Area 51? If you didn't know, Area 51 is a highly classified United States Air Force facility located in the southern portion of Nevada, USA. Officially known as Groom Lake, it's situated within the Nevada Test and Training Range and is part of the larger Nellis Air Force Base Complex. The area's exact purpose and activities are classified, which has led to many theories you may have heard concerning aliens. Take a look at this clip, for instance.
No, they're still there. I'm getting it.
There appears to be what looks like a set of lights that just disappear in the clouds. The man recording the clip can be heard saying they are still there. This is because he believed he had seen an alien spaceship, and just before he could stop recording, it started to go invisible until it was barely visible. The only thing he could catch on his camera was the lights in the clip before everything went away. He believes the craft is camouflaged in some way, but still up there. I know clips like this are hard to believe, but this man and his clip wouldn't be the first strange thing to come out of Area 51. It's even surprising that he was able to post this without going missing, because that's something that's been known to happen to whistleblowers. But do share your thoughts with me in the comment section.
No, they're still there. I'm getting it.
Humans have always desired and been fascinated with the supernatural. In many cultures, including ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, and Rome, there were beliefs in the existence of individuals who possessed magical powers both for good and evil. Practices such as necromancy, communication with the dead, and divination, foretelling the future, and curses were often associated with black magic. While times have changed, it looks like the fascination with the supernatural didn't stop there. No, somehow some have allegedly found a way to integrate it into technology.
Able to simply receive a photo of someone's face and treat them of diseases with this?
Yes, yes. Now, to be clear, this is not Newtonian physics. This is a new branch of physics. I work with people around the world by way of an emailed photograph. My photograph has a signature or a force field attached to it. If I were to place my photograph inside this instrument, the instrument would understand my force field and direct energy into my force field. Now, it's not a biological process. It's an energetic process working through the different dimension of scalar energy. It's not electromagnetic energy.
The man on your screen is an example. He actually believes he's able to cure individuals just by using their image. He, however, attributes it to science and throws around words like quantum and physics, which makes it seem like he knows what he's talking about. He also talks about scalar energy and bilocation, which he associates, which according to him are essential for what he does. According to him, his predecessor worked with the Apollo 11 team using just their images. I did some digging around on the Apollo bit and didn't find any information. But just imagine such technology was real. The applications are endless. We could hear people in all sorts of remote places without being there. It'll change the medical industry for good. Unfortunately, not many are buying what the man is selling. They believe he's just misleading people. Take a look at these comments. Despite the negative comments, there are some who believe this is real and defending the post. While my natural mind may be tempted to dispel this, we live in a very mysterious world we have yet to understand. Perhaps this is an actual possibility, but do tell me what you think.
My predecessor was working with the Apollo 11 astronauts. That photograph may have been a few months old, but it still reported the exact biorhythms of the astronauts while they are on the moon, 250,000 miles away.
Have you ever heard of the bleeding tree? This phenomenon has been observed in various parts of the world where people cut into trees and instead of the usual white or clear sap, a crimson fluid gushes out resembling a murder scene. In some cultures, these bleeding trees are considered omens or spiritual signs of doom. After consulting with Julius, our resident science whiz, I learned a few things. The bloodwood tree, native to Australia and belonging to the genus Corymbia, is notable for its distinctive red sap. This resembles blood and seeps from the tree when the bark is damaged. The sap has traditional uses in indigenous medicine for its antiseptic properties, treating wounds and infections. Bloodwood trees are hardy, often thriving in poor soils and arid conditions, and they can grow up to 20 meters tall. The wood is dense and durable, making it valuable for construction and crafting. Additionally, the tree's flowers provide nectar that's essential for many native Australian animals, including birds and insects. So while this looks creepy and seems like something we should avoid, it turns out it has a lot of great uses. The true definition of not everything is what it seems, or never judge a book by its cover, or in this case, a tree by its sap. This homeless man was seen throwing rocks and stones onto the road, causing chaos for drivers. As a result, a motorcyclist lost control and slid off the road. Sparks flew from the motorcycle as it scraped along the tarred road. Fortunately, the rider was not seriously injured and managed to stand up. But that wasn't the end of the trouble. Several cars were also affected, with some experiencing flat tires. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt. Oddly enough, the homeless man responsible for the incident was not found, and there has been no official word on the matter so far. This is such a strange situation. What do you think should be done to prevent incidents like this in the future? This next clip comes all the way from an icy mountain in the coded location. Pay attention to it. You see it, don't you? The silhouette of a person. Being able to make out the person from that distance is quite remarkable. And by that, this is what I mean. A human would have been barely visible, but this person or being stands out, which could only mean he's not normal human size, but ginormous. Is this evident of giants, or could it be the legendary Yeti? Delving deeper into the intrigue, some theorists suggest a conspiracy surrounding the existence of giants, proposing that these colossal beings may have a clandestine presence in remote regions. Speculations range from ancient myths and legends to alleged cover-ups by secretive organizations aiming to keep the existence of giants hidden from the public eye. What do you think, though? Skinwalkers are shape-shifting creatures. They can take the form of any being and live among us. However, there is a subtle detail that gives away their true nature. Take a look at this footage. For instance, someone captured this dog on the street, and it looks like your everyday dog. But a closer look and you'll notice something uncanny about its appearance. Did you see it? Yeah, many who saw the footage believed that this could be a skinwalker attempting to imitate a dog but missing the mark, particularly in the eyes. If that's true, then this woman has got to get this thing away from her. What do you think, though? A subscriber sent this in, and it's quite intriguing. They discovered a strange giant footprint in Hawaii at a place called Koala Ranch. Yes, those are allegedly actual footprints, and they belong to something large and ginormous. It has 3 distinctive claws. The fact that it's ginormous and has 3 toes has brought to mind everyone's favorite reptile, Godzilla. Is this real? Well, if you were to ask me, I'd say no, but there are some who believe it is. I'm not the only skeptic out there, however. Someone even stated that this had to have been taken from the set of Godzilla in 1998. What do you guys think? For this one, we move off the world to another planet in our solar system, Jupiter. What you're seeing on your screen is no fairy tale, it's very real. It was captured on the planet Jupiter. Once it went live, everyone had questions. What's the green light in the atmosphere? Some assumed it was green men, others thought it was a sign of life on our planet. If you know anything about our world, then you know this went viral. Others thought it was a sign of life on the planet. If you know anything about our world, then you know this went viral. After what had happened, NASA had to come out to clarify. According to them, the green light is due to the lightning in clouds containing a solution of ammonia and water. On the Earth, lightning occurs in clouds containing water vapors, but on Jupiter, it happens due to ammonia and water solution. Sounds plausible, scientific, and honest. I believed it, but not some members of my team. They think NASA may have just given us the explanation because they accidentally made the picture public and didn't want the rest of us to know there's life out there. What do you guys think? In this interesting water meeting, there's a mysterious black creature that looks like a snail without a shell. Many who saw it proposed that it might be a sea slug or a similar sea creature. Sea slugs, scientifically called nudibranches, are a varied group of shellless sea snails. Normally they live in salt water, so finding them in freshwater or swampy places is unusual. Is it possible that this is a species we haven't discovered yet, or does it possess characteristics that make us rethink what we know about marine life? Nature is a constant source of awe and sometimes even a bit of fear. In this footage, massive rocks from the seashore mysteriously start moving toward the land, overtaking the rails and encroaching onto the street. Mind you, this is not an edited footage. Just look at how the people around are mesmerized by it and are keenly taking videos of it. But if it's not edited, what could we be dealing with? We can't say with certainty which it is, but Julius has a few theories for us. According to him, the movement of rocks along the shoreline can be ascribed to the persistent forces of waves and tides shaping the coasts with their rhythmic movements. Another explanation could involve geological events like landslides, orchestrating the fascinating migration of these rocks and highlighting the constantly changing nature of Earth's landscapes. These are all the theories we got from him, but what do you also think? On October the 8th, during a lively pumpkin festival, crowds gathered to witness a spectacular event, the drop of a giant pumpkin from 100 feet above ground into a pool of water. Amidst the excitement, someone captured something extraordinary on camera. As the massive pumpkin crashes into the water, a peculiar object zips by in the sky. It was a disc-shaped object, prompting the owner of the footage to believe they'd captured a UFO on camera. However, skeptics had other ideas. Some suggested it was merely a bird, though others argued that the object's speed was far too great for a bird. Another commenter proposed that it might have been a drone flying overhead. But what do you think? Could this be an unidentified flying object, or is there a more mundane explanation? I don't know what's going on out there in the heavens, but there must be something weird. In Turkey, instead of rain, snow, or hail, locals saw round pearls falling from the sky. Once it was all over, people came out of their homes and were found on the streets gathering these tiny white pearls. That's the alleged story, but it just didn't add up. I'm not trying to be skeptical, but if it rained these pearls even for a few seconds, say 10 seconds, there would be more of these pearls on the ground than we're seeing in the clips. If that were the case, these pearls would have been everywhere and covered almost every space of that town, but we only see a few of them being gathered by the individuals in the clip. I'm not the most analytical, but this discrepancy had me digging around and I came across a contradictory story. Some individuals who had commented on posts of the clip made these comments. According to these guys and many more, what we are seeing on our screens aren't pearls but rather plastic pellets that have possibly fallen or split from a truck. It was probably intended for production and somehow found its way to these individuals who then filmed themselves collecting it. This seems a tad more logical, but if that's the case, they're handling some really toxic stuff and need to be careful. Why am I even saying that as though they can hear me? Anyway, what do you guys think? Could there have really been a rain of pearls, or did someone find this clip of these humble folks collecting these plastic pellets and decide to start a controversy? Let us know what you think in the comments. Now take a look at this creature right here. What would you do if you saw this in your house? There is no way I would sleep that night. It's a dog, clearly a dog, but there is a strangeness to its appearance that makes you feel uncomfortable. It's like a human, which is quite unusual. That is not a dog, I tell you. It's a skinwalker or something, because just look at this. Guys, am I just being paranoid, or do you see it too? If you thought that was odd, take a look at this one. As the leaves sway in the wind, this tree takes a strange shape, like it was some sort of creature. It looks more like a bear to me, which is quite the eerie spectacle. I know, it could just be my human trait to see familiar things in inanimate objects. If that's not the case and there's something more ominous happening here, then whoever lives where this is recorded needs to pay attention, don't you think? If you haven't already hit the like button, subscribed, or even dropped a comment so far, could you please do so now? It goes a long way to help us make more of these videos for you. Thank you so much. Now back to today's episode. You know what? Before you conclude, take a look at this one too.
I don't know. No, that's not a fun. I will be hiding if that's the size of a.
In our digging, we came across this footage that's also apparently from Nevada, Las Vegas, to be precise. In the clip, we see something move at great speed in the sky. Looking at it, it looks like a spaceship. Before you disregard this video as another hoax, take a look at the other elements in the clip. We got a police car on the left, and the clip seems to have come from a police body cam. This adds a level of authenticity to the whole thing. Many comments on the original post were like this. The individuals that have been blurred out of the clip apparently reported to the police first about strange things happening and an alien possibly being around. In the world I live in, you may have received a warning from the police because that's just ridiculous, but these guys actually listened. This has earned the praise of the online community. Question now on everyone's mind is, what was that? If they are aliens, why are they in Nevada? Are they in bed with the government? Or do we have something they want, something we took from them? Share your thoughts in the comments section. A group of men were on a hiking expedition in a dense forest when they came across. We kick off today's episode with something rather alien. This clip was sent in from Miami a few weeks ago, and naturally, we have been trying to break it down and understand it. In the clip, we see an orange light in the sky, surrounded by lots of clouds. Right off the bat, if you're into UFOs and love things alien, you might suspect this is one. That's one of the easiest ways to explain sights like this. A number of individuals who saw the post stated that they have had similar experiences in other states and places. The user, for instance, stated his or her dad saw something similar around the same time the original post was made. The difference, however, is that they saw theirs in San Antonio. There's no way to verify this, so we'll have to take it with a grain of salt. A number of individuals who saw the post also believed it was real. Take these comments, for instance. While many thought this was really an alien ship sighting, a number of individuals thought otherwise. They believed there had to be a logical explanation for the whole thing. This user, for instance, argued it might be a drone, but that's pretty high, and I'm not sure we have a lot of drones that can get so high and be fitted with strong and powerful lights. A number of individuals also thought it might be a rocket launch. One user, however, pointed out that we might be dealing with a helicopter instead. I can see why and how each of these individuals came to their conclusions. Without more evidence, however, it's difficult to state who is right. What do you guys personally think of the clip? We'd like to hear your thoughts.
In a chilling incident in the ocean, a woman's leisurely swim turned into a heart-pounding moment of danger. As she gracefully navigated the waves, the atmosphere shifted when concerned onlookers began frantically shouting warnings for her to exit the water. Caught off guard, the woman, fortunately not too far from the safety of the shore, responded promptly to the urgency in the voices around her. As she made her way to the beach, a collective gasp echoed through the bystanders. What emerged from the water was a dark shadow, unmistakably a shark, stealthily trailing her from a distance. That is why it's important to stay vigilant and respect the untamed environment of the sea, because encounters with marine life can swiftly transition from serene to potentially hazardous. Now let's have a dose of interdimensional action. This black hole appeared in the night sky. It has this white ring around it. What could it be? While pondering such events is intriguing, some people approach them with a scientific mindset, claiming that this could be just an illusion. Optical illusions, atmospheric occurrences, or celestial events can sometimes create visually stunning yet natural displays in the night sky. But this right here feels eerie and looks like a portal, some sort of gateway to another planet or dimension, or even alien transport to our world. Who knows? The UFO talk is just so prevalent these days. I won't be surprised if a saucer emerges from this black hole in the sky.
In this next clip, a man explains something rather interesting yet disturbing about the eggs we eat, especially in the US.
Story about chicken eggs that will show you exactly how corrupt the food industry is and how much the chemical industry influences it for profit. When eggs are produced in the United States, there's a sanitizer that's sprayed on them for the purpose of preventing you from getting salmonella poisoning and bacteria entering the egg, eventually spoiling it. Meanwhile, when a natural egg is produced, it has something on the outside called a bloom. This is why when you go to Europe, you see that eggs are actually not refrigerated. They're kept outside, whether in the store or at home. Why? Because the bloom protects the egg from having salmonella or bacteria enter the egg and spoiling it. So the egg already came with a natural defense against the thing that the chemicals are being sprayed on it to protect it against. The chemicals are absolutely unnecessary. Proof of it? Go to Portugal today and buy eggs from a shelf instead of a refrigerator and your health will be just fine. Seek out pasture-raised organic eggs. You don't need the industrial toxins, and make sure you share this video with everyone you know so they can also do the same thing.
Did you hear that? Eggs have a natural protective layer known as the bloom that prevents the entry of bacteria and other harmful substances. This protective layer eliminates the need for chemical sprays to be applied to eggs. So what could this mean? Are the eggs in the US not natural eggs, hence the need to be given artificial protection, or are they doing all this just for profit? I mean, if the eggs can be preserved longer, they can earn a bit more from exporting to other places. Either way, it doesn't change the fact that these are questionable practices. In various religious traditions, eclipses are a natural phenomenon that occurs annually but in different locations around the world. Despite being a regular occurrence, people never fail to be mesmerized by it. However, many people have reported experiencing strange things during an eclipse. For instance, a woman once noticed some peculiar-looking lights on the ground in her house during an eclipse. She was not alone. Several individuals observed glowing circles in the ground during an eclipse. One of them even commented on the post and stated that they also saw these patterns last year on the 23rd of October during an eclipse. Everyone attributed this to mysterious forces surrounding the eclipse, but there was one particular comment that seemed logical. When I saw this, I also thought the same, that there was perhaps a structure at the location or even spaces between the leaves of a tree that were causing this. While this seems logical, there's no way to actually prove it. There's that slim chance that the poster might be right in their assertion after all.
Australia, the one place I told myself I'd never visit because of the ginormous and poisonous creatures it houses. Just when I thought I was putting my fears at bay, this clip shows up. In the clip, we see a snake going up the staircase in a home. I can't tell whether the snake is poisonous or not, but this is a sight I wouldn't want to see in my home. I mean, I doubt I would be able to sleep if I ever do see something like this at home. Encounters with snakes in homes are not uncommon in regions with a variety of wildlife. While Australia is home to a range of snake species, most of them are not harmful to humans. However, caution and expert assistance are crucial to ensuring the safety of both residents and the snake. The person attempts to pick up the snake from the stairs, so it seems it's not harmful. Or is it just his pet? A hiker came across this huge person standing at what looked like a doorway at the very top of the mountain. As if that wasn't scary and disturbing enough, the being just stood there and looked down at the hiker. I don't know about you, but that would have been my cue to leave, but not this hiker. He did his best to get us evidence of the whole thing. Having seen the clip, I can't help but wonder, are mountains more than just geological formations? Could there be a hidden world of giants residing in these majestic peaks, or perhaps are the interpretations of these misinterpretations of the actual facts? It's hard to say, but what are your insights on these mysterious giant encounters? Share them with us in the comments section.
A group of men were on a hiking expedition in a dense forest when they came across an intriguing circular structure. The object had a mirror-like surface that reflected the sunlight, and its edges emitted a faint glow that seemed to pulsate. Upon closer inspection, the men noticed that the structure was perfectly symmetrical and had a diameter of approximately 10 feet. The original poster speculated that the object may be some sort of portal, but there is no verifiable evidence to support this theory. The men who found the structure did not provide much information about its origin or purpose. There were no visible markings or signs of wear and tear that might suggest how long the object had been there. The group of men did not attempt to touch the object or interact with it in any way, perhaps out of fear or uncertainty about its properties. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the discovery of this mysterious structure has sparked much interest and speculation. Some have suggested that it could be a remnant of an ancient civilization, while others believe it to be a natural phenomenon. The truth, however, may never be known, but the enigma of this object continues to captivate the imaginations of those who are interested in the unknown. What are your thoughts on this? But eclipses are not the only strange things. This footage was taken of a person's eyes, and look at that. The eye just switched into what looks like slits, reptilian eyes. Now, there have been numerous accounts and conspiracies of shape-shifting lizard people who live among us. Their giveaway is this: they have inner transparent eyelids that blink sideways apart from the normal human eyelids. And when that happens, for a split second, their eyes change from human to reptilian. Some people who support the shape-shifting reptilian theory think that these creatures are from outer space and have come to Earth to influence and dominate humans. They believe that reptilian beings are from different planets or dimensions and have high-tech abilities to appear as humans or other creatures, letting them blend in among us. Next, we have an intriguing oceanic encounter where an odd-looking reptilian creature is spotted with its head above the water. The creature bears a resemblance to a large lizard, akin to a Komodo dragon. However, the fascinating aspect is that traditional Komodo dragons are primarily terrestrial and not known for their swimming abilities. Seeing a head that looks like a lizard coming out of the water does seem strange. It's however crucial to think about the chance that it might be a different kind of creature or an instance of convergent evolution. This is when unrelated species evolve similar characteristics on their own. Marine iguanas, for instance, are known to swim and are found in the Galapagos Islands. These reptiles have adapted to life in the water, utilizing their tails for propulsion. But without any more details on the location of this sighting and clearer footage, we cannot really be sure of what we're dealing with. Does anyone have an idea? This person was captured at the moment when a sea of mud just erupted through a brick wall and gushed into the streets, flooding the whole place. Mud flows, also known as mudslides or debris flows, can occur in areas with loose soil or sediment, particularly after heavy rainfall or during geological events like earthquakes. This poses a significant hazard to communities as they can swiftly inundate homes and infrastructure. In this case, I think it was after rainfall because the weather looked cloudy, or am I just seeing things? Here we have another footage of another set of eyes doing the exact same thing. Now, these are just two of numerous clips of individuals captured having these slit eyes. I mean, it could just be editing, but when you look closely, this thing looks too real to be edited. So could the theories be true? Are we witnessing evidence of extraterrestrial beings living amongst us, disguised as humans? Or are these occurrences simply the product of optical illusions or digital manipulation? It's hard to say, and there's no way to prove any of this, but if it's true, then we are in serious trouble, don't you think? In the video clip that follows, we get a glimpse of another sighting of the sky, where a cloud resembling a human figure is seen, albeit without wings this time. The cloud being has its arms spread out as if it were running, and at one point there seems to be movement in its hand. While it could be argued that this is merely a case of pareidolia or moving clouds, there is always the possibility of something more significant going on. As more people gathered around to observe the cloud, something strange happened. The human-like cloud suddenly vanished into thin air as if it were aware of its surroundings and was intentionally disappearing. This raises more questions about what it could have been. Was it an angel, as some people believe, or was it simply a case of pareidolia? Alternatively, it could have been a hologram projection in the sky or some other phenomenon that we have yet to understand. Without more information, it's going to be difficult to say what exactly was going on in the sky that day. But what do you think it was?
Our next footage is an interesting one. In the clip, someone takes a dead fingerling and dips it into the sand. Suddenly, a peculiar insect emerges from the sand, eagerly nipping at the fish. The observer swiftly seizes the creature with a pair of pliers, revealing a remarkable find. This is not an ordinary bug, this is a beachworm. Beachworms are marine worms that are often found in sandy coastal areas. They can range in size and appearance, with some species resembling long snake-like creatures. These worms are known for burrowing into the sand and may come to the surface when triggered by certain stimuli, such as the presence of food. Have you encountered any of these worms before? Care to share your experience? In this security camera video shared by a viewer from Barry, West Bromwich, England, we're introduced to something rather strange. A person wearing a reflective hoodie is jogging, and from the other side, a spooky figure appears. Both keep jogging, but the ghost-like figure disappears halfway through the recording. This was raw footage, so those thinking it's a hoax, it's not. We just witnessed a ghost jog by a house. These entities really are among us. Instances like these caught on camera without any manipulation spark contemplation about the supernatural and the possibility of entities existing alongside us.
If that one didn't quite do it for you, we have another angel sighting that was captured in the sky over the ocean. In the video, a humanoid figure with wings appears, which some viewers have likened to an angel. Unlike the previous angel-shaped cloud sighting, this entity is a glowing white light. It's interesting to note that this is how most people imagine or believe angels to appear, as luminous beings. The sighting generated mixed reactions from the viewers. Some were convinced that this was a true angel, while others remained skeptical. They suggested that it could be a hologram projection or a blue beam projection. However, it's worth considering the possibility that it could be a natural phenomenon, such as a rare cloud formation. What are your thoughts? Do you believe it was a genuine angel sighting, or was it a projection, or something else entirely? If you doubted that, then what do you think about this clip as well? The footage on your screen was also recorded from the same area. The one who saw it posted it online, believing the jets were chasing the UFO. I mean, if anyone saw a jet fighter and a UFO in the sky, that's certain to be the first thing that came to mind. But once the clip hit the internet, people thought otherwise. They actually believed that the jet fighters were escorting the UFO instead. This made a number of them believe it had to be man-made. But is it though? Well, we can't say for sure, but many who saw the clip believe it was the real deal. They believed the spacecraft gave off a hum that could not be made up. Apparently, many others recorded and saw it as well. We did some digging around and found none of these clips, but perhaps we're searching in the wrong places. What do you guys think? Real or not?
Speaking of aliens, this was sent in by a subscriber. They had retrieved this from their security camera. Take a look. As the camera oversees the house, in a few seconds, there it is, and a strange object flies by. What was that? When you take a closer look, it doesn't look like any insect, but looks more like a miniature craft.
Are we dealing with some tiny alien beings, or could it be a drone belonging to aliens? I know it sounds ridiculous, but we can't rule anything out at this point. Either way, do share your thoughts in the comments section. In this intriguing footage, trees are seen swaying in response to the forceful wind, a common occurrence during windy weather. A closer look at the ground reveals an unexpected phenomena. It appears as though the roots of the trees are lifting off the ground as the wind blows. How is such a sight even possible? Trees usually stay firmly in place because of their roots, which go into the ground to give them stability and support. Seeing these roots lifting off the ground goes against what we know about how trees are securely anchored. Could they be fake? Could it be that the roots aren't deep? What's your take on the whole thing? Like that wasn't strange enough, someone witnessed another strange situation during a solar eclipse in October 2023. For those who haven't experienced it, a solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth and the Sun, blocking all or part of the Sun's light. In the video, there appears to be 3 heavenly bodies visible. The first one is a brighter sphere in front, followed by a darker one behind it, and then another brighter sphere behind the dark one. This made the one who recorded the clip believe there was another moon rising. Someone in the original post also saw something similar and shared it. If you know anything about astronomy or our celestial bodies, you know the Earth is supposed to have just one moon. This begs the question, where from the third celestial body? Naturally, this post generated a lot of conspiracies. Some even thought this was a sign that the aliens were behind this. Some also thought that the spirit world and the physical world became connected during these eclipses. One user, however, stated it was not any of these. It's the reflection of the camera lens, he said. We didn't have our cameras out to film during the eclipse, but we know that's definitely possible. The question now is, which of these reasons is the most accurate? Share your thoughts. People see a lot of weird stuff at night, and our next clip is no different. A man was driving one night when, ahead of him on the side of the road, he saw some people covered from head to toe in white robes. The sight was eerie and unsettling, but what happened next was even more bizarre. As soon as the man got close to them, they all scattered and started to screech at the car. The high-pitched, unnatural sounds filled the night air, sending chills down the man's spine. Terrified, he sped away and later shared this footage online. The video quickly went viral, sparking a wave of speculation. Some commenters suggested that they could be members of a cult or ritualists engaged in some midnight ceremony. The white robes and the way they scattered added to the mystery and fear. Others, however, thought it was just a group of pranksters or weirdos trying to scare people for fun. What do you also think? Have you ever seen footage of a storm brewing like this? The sky is alive with flashes of lighting, illuminating the darkness in brief, eerie bursts, and there in the distance, you can see a tornado forming, its ominous shape slowly approaching. The power and intensity of nature captured in this footage are both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The lightning dances across the sky, creating a stunning yet chaotic light show, each flash revealing the swirling clouds and the menacing funnel of the tornado. The unpredictability and sheer force of these natural events can be deadly, making it crucial to heed weather warnings and take appropriate safety measures. If you've ever had a close encounter with one of these, kindly share your experience in the comments section. And with that, we end today's episode. Thanks for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. Share this video with someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.